the G2 with MongolZ, with the way he was playing yesterday, that's a tough one to get past.
Yeah, I think it would be a great time, to show why. They paid the big bucks for him. I think it would just be such a cool story. And from the other players in G2, I'd want to beat this team so badly. This is the team that's destroyed your squad, have taken the 2 top players you've got. If everybody is left behind, you want to beat them with everything you've got.
Yeah, a little bit salty.
Well, listen, take it away, guys. I'm really looking forward to this one. Last time we'll see these lineups. Go for it.
Last time we'll see G2 with MongolZ in the ranks, and we'll get to see MongolZ then move over to the Falcons. It's such a strange final, Jason, but it's exactly what we've kind of been on a collision course the entire tournament towards.
Well, it's got to be weird for both of these teams. Hold the thought. I think we might just get like a little pop at A. We can obviously see everyone lining up. So a set piece out of spawn for G2. 5 players, 3 in Palace, 2 coming up ramp. And to defend, it's Magisk and Nico.
Nico plays inside of Sandwich. And Falcons awaiting the eruption from G2 as they start to come out of ramp and Palace at the same time. Nico gets cleared first. No longer able to defend this A site. Plants coming in. Magisk under pressure. MongolZ marches forward. Site taken. G2 have it pretty much locked in from this point onwards.
Oh yeah, those USPs didn't get anything done. The Glocks have so much space. They know they've gushed up Tesses. Good shot onto MongolZ and a follow-up with red HP. Okay, Falcons all of a sudden are like, we have a chance at this.
Yeah, well, Kicksan trying to leap over the ticket box. Time is the problem. They have to move swiftly. Another headshot for Kicksan, but Snack's going down as well.
Way.
They have fought their way back into an unthinkable round. And that defuse, it's being stuck around the corner. Hunter chasing down. Full 10-second stick. Fended off by Dexter. And what a recovery in the first round of this grand final from Falcons.
Well, if your team who's got a reputation for throwing some silly rounds and losing some silly situations, this is the worst way to start a grand final. 5-on-3. There's no question who is the dominant force in that round and who is going to win it up until Tesses. With red HP, just destroys the hunt for his life.
Now, as MongolZ and MongolZ, the 2 players that opened up the pistol proceedings. Yeah, you're going to laugh at that one.
Yeah, Magisk can't believe it. There's no reason they should have won that round. 1-0 for Falcons.
G2 buyback. 3 Galils, a Tech 9, a Deagle. A little red in the face to kick things off here for G2.
Yeah, but they'd like to get it back quickly. So we'll see what they can do. A very quiet start. Utility out on the map. 3 Galils, 2 upgraded pistols for this T-side attack. G2 not doing any great job in the pistol rounds and the ensuing rounds after the fact. Their T-side only has a 30% conversion rate of being able to break their opposition after losing the pistol. So going to be a very tough round, especially now that utility is starting to dwindle and disappear.
Nico inside of Con. First kill is good. Couldn't get back to the rest, but he'll rely on Dexter to get the double. And they hold off the G2 force buy. Magisk to confirm the kill of Heavy God and 2-0 to kick things off. If you're G2, you had the opportunity for such a great start with that pistol round. Now you're going to be starting the grand final on the back foot.
Yeah, they're going to be kicking themselves, and it'll be on the back of their minds if this map gets close at any point. If they're just a couple rounds back and end up losing it, that pistol round will haunt them. So Snack's playing it patient. He has nothing to do. I mean, obviously the big headline coming into this is, as you mentioned, MongolZ, after this event, we expect is going to be joining up with Falcons in place of Dexter, so he'll be swapping teams. And it's just kind of funny in a way for these teams who have come into this event talking so much about trying to block the outside noise, right? With Falcons, it's the fact that everyone wants them to lose, that everyone wants to see them do poorly. For G2, it's obviously the outside noise around MongolZ leaving, around the, the reputation of Snacks and Taz at the helm of this team. Well, now coming into this final, it's almost like those problems invert. They go internal because you are losing MongolZ, and he is going to be joining up with a player on Falcons who's currently playing right now and leaving. So all of a sudden, you have these weird interactions of players who are going to be stepping out of this roster, players that are going to be stepping into it, leaving your team. And so, like, so much focus on the outside, but now you got to deal with the inside.
Yeah, it's unique conditions for a grand final, which already has all of that pressure, but you add in all of those caveats, and you've got just a strange concoction that hardly anybody has ever experienced before.
Nico spots 2, happy with the information, backing away.
MongolZ has been lights out still for this G2 squad. Still putting a huge shift at his last tournament with them.
And Kicksan's the only one here. Tessis is going to be over on Catwalk, but one nicely placed deke shot can open up this site.
He's going to step up to the Mark here with a deagle. Trying to fight out Tessus at short side, kicks it away inside of the bomb side of B, and with that util, it's going to force G2 away.
Yeah, all 5 of them, or 4 of them, excuse me, were in the halls. Meanwhile, Heavy got on the other side of the map, lurking over in Palace, but obviously a ton of information gathered by Falcons. They know what's happening on this map. And for G2, it's find a different location for these Deagles to try and get a look. Back towards middle. Dexter peeking in window. Nico's going to be over in con. And Nico might get lured into a fight if Dexter starts firing off shots.
Trying to run boost to make it a little more difficult for Dexter, but not perfectly executed, and he takes 2 kills towards top mid. Tess has to swing on Hunter, and Heavy God's left at Palace. Nico will be aware of that, but dealing with it is a different problem. Nice shot from Heavy God. It's going to go out again, and this time be taken down by Dexter. Been loving the energy Dexter's been bringing to this tournament. I mean, he has a very unique situation himself. You know, you're going to be sitting here, you've just joined Falcons, you were starting to come back into CS2 after such a hiatus at the start. You get into the heroic team, you move with that core as you started to make progress with that team. You get into Falcons, you think, okay, I get to play with Nico now. I get to play with this big superstar player. Sure, it was a free trial. Yeah. And now you're on the bench. So
it's the cursed monkey paw. He's like, I want to play with Nico. Please let me play with Nico.
Yeah.
Okay, but only for 3 months.
Yeah, you got 3 months.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, well, he's making the most of it at the moment. 7-0 start into the finals. We're going to have to keep eyes on Dexter's performance throughout this best of 5. Here goes Hunter, straight over towards B, kicks in, jump spotting, getting the nade damage off.
The Des brought this up frequently. I got good reason to keep track of it outside of everything you just listed is the fact that he's been so critical for Falcons. Nico's their highly rated player, but Dexter been providing massive impact every single match. He's done some great work with the AWP. If he goes quiet here today, they're going to struggle against Falcons, where that AWP difference with MongolZ on the other side of the table could be so brutal. First AWP in the map is in the hands of Dexter. No money for MongolZ to pick it up quite yet. A lot of space, a lot of map gained by G2. They've taken mid, they have control of Catwalk, and they're primed up to split into this B bomb site. Tessus is here to support Kixon, but he's wheeling his attention back and forth, and the wrong timing could be really painful.
Nico clearing out A ramp. He's going to see that no one is here. So, lack of information in terms of spotting players, but that gives them all the info they need to rotate their forces to the correct side of the map, and that's a B at the moment. Tessa spotting the gap at the window. G2 making no secret about their commitment towards this B site. Dexter's off, has rotated over, breaks open that smoke, unable to connect a shot. Kicks in hoping that he can get them distracted as they look around different angles. It's Kicks in with a double kill, and he shuts everything down. 3 from jail, locks them up, and Snacks, with 15 seconds left, does not want to go down after the time. He's going to fight his way forward, Kicks in to fall. And if he does manage to stay alive after that time runs out here,
he's
it's
in
a
trouble.
disaster. He's only got $750 left. They're just going to play with him. Yeah, he has to stay alive here, and he holds on.
What about Spam? Anyone gonna shoot in? Snacks just barely alive, and he'll make it.
He made it.
All the way through. Keeps the AK-47, but a 4th round for Falcons. And that round felt very telegraphed. A lot of players up in B halls for G2, but they waited quite some time before pulling the trigger. Gave time for Nico to clear A ramp, allowed Dexter to shift over to the B bomb site. By the time they actually called for the attack, 3 players here defending. And Kixon has no issues holding the line. Triple kill on this anchor defense. Fine work from Falcons in-game leader. So 1 AK-47 saved by Snacks in the previous round with no bonus money coming in. And pistols. That's an interesting way to go about things for Nico.
Yeah, it's not going to go about much more in this round. Opening kill for G2 picked up. I mean, if you are going to win this round, it is that AK being saved over that needs to do the heavy lifting. Snacks has done his job early.
It's a real brutal time to have a mistake like that, an unforced error from Nico if you're Falcons. You know, this is a round you know coming into it is going to be a low buy, if anything, for G2. Mostly pistols you'll have to overcome, but now you've got to do it 4-on-5, so it gets difficult and gets stressful. Magisk is alone, and they've already pushed out behind him. He's a free kill.
Oh, it should have been a free kill. Absolutely should have been a free kill, but eventually, after a little bit of hard work, they do eventually down Magisk. So a minute left on the clock. Here comes Kixon's rotate.
Falcons can still bring this back, so they're going to come over and test and try, but it gives an opportunity for G2 to take more weapons away from them.
Plant being secured around the back of Triple. Kixon will remove MongolZ as soon as he steps into the open.
There's a smoke on Tess's as well. Kits only on Kixon.
And Dexter's still over at short, so they're hanging around at the moment, but it doesn't feel fully committed yet. But with that kill from Tessus, that'll throw this opportunity into the advantage here of Falcons, and 2 kills quickly coming in. But yep, this flank from Snacks looking to be the nuisance. But remember, the bomb's planted. Kicks in with the man with the kit. He can just hold it. He can just stick it inside of the smoke. And so Falcons do pull it back, and they pull it out of the hands of G2. A lot of close rounds today for G2 already that Falcons just about coming out on top of.
Yeah, this is another 5 versus 3. This one a little bit more understandable about how it slips away from them, considering there's a lack of armor on most players. Even when you recover the weapons, that no armor effect just so tough to get over. Another good retake for Falcons, spearheaded by Kixon, who's 8-1 in the server so far. Dexter 8-0 as well for Falcons, leading the way.
All right, MongolZ's got the AWP out. Finally enough money for G2 to get it going on this T side.
Falcons keeping track of the economy will know that MongolZ has the AWP on the other side of the map as well. Not a whole lot of peeking in middle, not a whole lot of testing these smokes. Dexter just going to take the line, a very shallow line with an AWP.
And MongolZ's posted up upon his position. Does Dexter want to go over the top of that smoke?
I think he does.
Oh, MongolZ might walk into him. Might walk into the waiting arms of Dexter, who's got his shot. MongolZ to fall off short. Dexter continues his flawless start to the game. 9-0, peels back, and still holds the short angle.
That looked game plan. Dexter holding that angle for that long, just around the edge of the smoke as well. Good fight for Tessus. Got to drop off. All peaks from Catwalk. That's on Snacks, who's recovered it. And he's called out 1 in con as MongolZ jumps up.
Yeah, just about sees him. MongolZ lucky not to go down.
They're going to try and use MongolZ as the pivot point, but that's way too much time for him to be able to hang on to that part of the map. So now it's all on A. Heavy God's going to lead. Snacks and Hunter to join up with him.
And look at Dexter rotating around, marching back to a CT spawn. 38 seconds left. He's posted up again to watch that sandwich drop.
No smokes, but they do have mollies to force players out of position. If they want to drop one over at Ticket, Dexter might get in an awkward situation.
It's in all the right places in this round. Waiting for Heavy God, but he's seen enough of him. Dexter thought he was still covered, but he wasn't, and so Heavy God spams him down. But a 2v4 remains as G2 try and get into the site, but they've got to deal with 3 players running up to the top of con. 9 seconds, Snacks burned down and blasted away. A flawless start from Falcons, 6-0.
Yeah, Falcons playing this really, really well also. I mean, you can see no one giving up anything in a round where they have such an advantage. Everyone playing it far back. First guy's just waiting to take attention and let others take the peaks, others take the fights from a different spot. And no one's trying to overextend and do too much. G2 blanked in the first 6 rounds of these grand finals. That pistol round, man. That pistol round is starting to sting right now.
It really is. It's throwing what could have been a great start into disaster at the moment. Now, who knows? It could have lost the second round straight away, Jason. But
True.
still sitting on that goose egg. 0 rounds. Yeah, this is that long hole from Dexter, never giving MongolZ the opportunity.
I don't think MongolZ saw him over just like that little wisp of smoke at the top corner. I think that was doing so much work for Dexter, for him to get a glimpse of the body as it kind of shifts and moves.
Dude, you've just got to love the attitude that Dexter's bringing, though. You know, he's got this impending doom in front of him, but
it feels so, yeah, it feels so bittersweet to talk about it. Especially after seeing his joy and excitement yesterday and winning the semifinals and booking a spot here in the grand finals.
Exactly, but what else can you do about that situation? That's not in your control. What you do in the server is. All right, now, fantastic performance. G2 once again, Tech 9s, smokes, certainly limited.
It's a
they sent
though.
through players out through the underpass.
Trying to get Falcons' defensive attention towards Ramp and Palace so they can actually boost up and attack into Nico. Tech 9, Snacks is going to swing and he wins it. MongolZ wins one as well on Tessus. That's Catwalk. Middle of the map cracked open.
Yeah, there's a great headshot from Magisk, who maintains his position inside of Sandwich. Just over a minute left on the clock, still plenty of time. Hunter in this fight against Kixan is never going to be ready for it. Dexter wins the duel against MongolZ, and immediately from an advantage situation in numbers, it is now Falcons back in position, but Snacks, we call him sneaky. We know he loves to get in behind enemy lines, but Kixan gets the read in time. Turns back, spots Snacks, and now MongolZ with a 1v3.
IGL diff, this one can call and frag. Kixan 10 in the map so far.
Well, MongolZ, he's got a chance here. They're separated, but that rotate is coming over from Magisk. No longer is it an easy 1v1 inside of the site, but Kicksan could have gone anywhere. MongolZ has so much to clear in this position. Drops down, instant headshot, getting tagged and body bagged. Magisk with 2 kills.
Yeah, that's a nice spray from Magisk as well. Not even giving him a chance to open up the clutch. Good find for MongolZ in a 1 versus 3, but can't build upon it. 7-0. Up again in the hands of MongolZ. Full buy again for G2. But they just can't get anything going whatsoever. Not anything to be happy about in this game thus far. Mob struggling with entries 1 and 7. Not enough kills, not enough production to make your lurkers and Hunter and Heavy God have a whole lot of impact. MongolZ's had 1 round from the AWP and taken down immediately by Degster. He'll try again here in round 8.
I said the flash is in the middle. Snax is going to start making his way down mid. This time a little bit more haste. And he's got some support as well from his teammates in underpass. Oh, back grenade. It's perfect. Lands right at the feet of MongolZ.
So he's chipped down to 54. Magisk still up in the ladder room as well, biding his time.
They're getting players into connector pretty frequently, G2, but they're yet to be able to make anything of it. And Snax has decided he wants to change that, so he goes through the smoke. Although now detected. Distracted by the fight with Nico. Dexter's peek out CT allows the easy kill.
Yeah, but that peek, that timing on Nico just coming in for a jiggle towards Palace gave away the Snax position. The timing of him not committing to a wider swing, he's very, very lucky to be alive. MongolZ holding for a push. Hunter going to join up with MongolZ in middle, and this is feeling like they're going to split up Con. Tessis is on catwalk. Nico and Dexter playing together back at Ticket.
Oh, good little tap from Tessis. That's going to draw Falcons into the player advantage. You got 20 seconds left and no one to be seen. You can throw the utility into the side, but you're not going to force anybody out into the open. I mean, because they're playing back towards CT.
And G2 preemptively throwing the defensive Molotov.
Well, Hunter has turned back
smoke.
and got Tessis. 10 seconds up. Look at Nico. He could spoil the party straight away here as he gets to the side of the smoke. That plant, it will go down, and a shot from MongolZ denies any impact that Nico could have. And it's flipped back on its head. G2 will have their first round win.
Yeah, that smoke might have actually ruined Falcons a little bit. They threw that early when they knew the final play was going to be at that A bomb site to give space, but MongolZ's looking for that walk around the smoke the whole time. Takes Nico out just as he's starting to get creative. Opens up some safety for G2 to move into the site. Took away the angle for Dexter's AWP.
So much money for Falcons, though. That's the difficult part here for G2.
Yeah, but this is going to disappear quick, especially if Kicksan goes down. If Hunter finds him at the end, which he will not, that could have really depleted things, but still, everyone else is going to have to chew into this bank they've built up over 7 rounds.
Terrorists win.
G2 finally on the board. It took them 8.
Got to make sure that it's not just a flash in the pan, though. Got to start stringing rounds together in this T half.
I mean, that's kind of why it's been hard. I've mentioned like not getting a whole lot of solid opening kills that give you a whole lot. You are getting some space, but Falcons isn't getting hardcore punished by any initial kills. MongolZ, he takes the most on T sides for G2. He's sitting around 35% of their opening attempts, and he's only got 2 kills in this game. So maybe not feeling super motivated to go for the similar kind of aggressive stances we've seen from him in the past, but at least been quiet to open up the map. We'll see if that changes after a round victory.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Snax seem like he's really trying to find a play, find a way to create space for G2.
Yeah.
2 rounds that he gets himself into decent positions. Maybe the timing doesn't favor him, or Kicksan turns back at the wrong point. But he's had many opportunities set up from his early positioning.
Snax is probably the player on G2 most willing to take some crazy risks.
Yeah.
He'll go deep into that kind of risk-reward argument. Utility exchange in middle. Tess's spot. Snax come out towards the back of Catwalk, and he's now going to start pushing up. Wants a little bit of pace on this.
Grabbing space quite quickly, worried about being picked off in the top of that con smoke. Combined with the utility thrown by his teammate, Snax has got some space at short. Will Kicksan detect him? On the peak from bench, he will. And so Snax doesn't feel comfortable taking that fight, but combined with damage from Nico, Snax is gone. He got fought on so many different fronts.
Yeah, taking damage each step of the way as well. And by the time he backs off, all the smokes that gave him safety to get into that position have disappeared, so he's exposed to everything.
MongolZ about to challenge Dexter into the peak, peeks into him, wins the fight. Under a minute left, and that is a huge kill to find because it creates so much space inside of this A bomb site and creates so much pressure for Magisk. He picks off one from under the wood. Nico combining, Heavy God battling his way forward, combined with the might of MongolZ. It's once again an even number situation. Responsibility to plant is tossed away, and MongolZ goes into con. Kixan creeping up below his crosshair. Will MongolZ react fast enough, or will he even be looking in the right direction? The answer to that is no.
He got pulled away by that short engagement. The shots from Tess's, and he was hunting. There was my target.
And Heavy God must bear down upon them. 2v1 as he's pinned in ramp. He'll creep silently into the site. They've got util for this. And this can create a really difficult situation for Heavy God. Molly in. Defuse being stuck, and Heavy God cleared out by Tess. Another round, Falcons win back.
And another good retake. I mean, you have to say, G2 fought really hard to get that bomb site under their control. Had to battle every step of the way, and the rotation was far, far off. Falcons at one point had 3 players at the B bomb site when that A hit is underway. The fact that they get back, are able to recover, helped out a little bit by the timing of the Tess's fight over in jungle to take MongolZ's attention away from middle. But a very nice attempt from G2 gets stumped again by a retake and defuse.
Setting up for a direct hit into the A bomb site. 4 players positioned outside of A with Snax lurking in middle. When do they decide to go? They're getting into the smoke. They're going now on the flashes. Flashes are effective. G2 do not push beyond Tetris though, as Nico and Magisk start to build up a beautiful round here for Falcons. MongolZ fighting his way out of it, but Nico hunts him down. 3v2, damage done. And it's hard to see a world again in which G2 can get themselves into a comfortable spot here.
Yeah, but they're making the best decision possible, is back off. You know this defense is way too strong. You know there's forces rotated here. There's no way you're going to break in. So back off. You've got over a minute to play with. And if you do want to come back into this, gonna have to find a nice timing kill. A little bit of luck is gonna have to go your way where you slip into a position that Falcons just does not expect.
I think it would be the B bomb side at the moment. They've got space for the time being.
Yeah, the question becomes for Falcons is when does somebody's like kind of alarm bells go off inside their head? Does anyone actually move over towards B? Because what it looks like they're doing, obviously, Kixan and Dexter have just found these relatively safe positions to stay parked in. It's Tess's who's gonna be looking around the map. But there's nowhere close that he can really get the information. So actually, a plant at the B bomb site is there. Hunter and Snax have a lot of time to get positioned exactly where they want to.
Yeah, the biggest issue, obviously, is Hunter's lack of health. Yeah. And they don't have any nades either. Falcons have plenty. Tessus
has just made every wrong decision to put himself as far away as possible to this bomb plant, because just at the moment, Falcons is going to confirm the A bomb site is clear. It's been planted at B. Kixan's got to be careful. He waits for his teammates to step into market. And they're going to go for an old bait and switch at the market entrance.
The best form of defense of this post plant is attack. A more aggressive setup. Snax up first, nails the headshot. Looking for a second that could set Hunter up, but it's Snax with all 3.
That's the beauty of having so much time after the bomb plant. You get to just gear up wherever the hell you need to, and Snax picks a perfect off angle. Falcons can't trade it off. And that's back-to-back wins, or excuse me, 2 of the last 3 going to G2, so starting to chip away at the money. And might be a kill that can let G2 get just a couple rounds at the end of the day.
Yeah, we talked about Snax trying to make a play, taking space to get his team into this first half. It comes down to just winning fights for Snax, and that's such an important round for G2 in the early stages of this final. This half has been dire for them. But like you said, they're on the brink of breaking the money now for Falcons. If they can get this follow-up round, they can secure 4. And at least put themselves in the best possible position to do so. Nico, aggressive on this top mid smoke.
They had Tess's throw the nade from Con, so it looks like Nico's
There's a lot of people mid, in fact. A lot of presence in middle here for Falcons, but Snax is going to clear it. Mobs gets a second kill. And just with the sheer numbers they're spotting in middle, they have to be on high alert. MongolZ once again falls to Dexter, but MongolZ was too much to handle, as Dexter couldn't flick back in time.
Yeah, now they know the last player is the B anchor. Kixon still alive over on the van. MongolZ's attention immediately turns to that part of the map. They've got to go back and get the bomb in T-spawn because that was forgotten, so the round will get a few extra seconds to it. But, I mean, with the last round with no money across the board, I think Kixon, you're probably working out in your head if you think it's worth trying to go and pick up the AWP on Catwalk. But G2 fighting back. A third round. G2's been excellent at this event. Well, Falcons had to grind through a rough start to the group stage going down 0-2.
Polar opposite starts.
Yeah, coming all the way back. G2 just ran through everyone. They've only dropped a single map at this event so far. That was, as odd enough as it is to say out loud, it was to Complexity back in the group stages in a 2-1 victory. Other than that, they've been spotless. Spotless. So M4 saved for Kixon. That'll be the strongest weapon they have in this round. 8-3.
Yeah, and no surprises. You know, MongolZ has been the standout player for G2. He's been the standout player of the tournament. Highest rated at a 1.34.
You can see the respect that Falcons are giving him too. I think part of the reason why MongolZ's felt a little bit muted in this is, you know, if you think of the Falcons FaZe game that was on Mirage, you know, there was quite a few brawls out middle, challenging for space, fighting Catwalk, fighting at the top mid boxes, pushing up. Falcons come in against MongolZ and they're like, maybe we just don't want to do that against MongolZ. Maybe we just don't want to mess with his AWP in that fashion.
It would be a bad look if you didn't respect him, Jason.
Well, he's gonna come take it. You aren't gonna give it to him. Oh. He's gonna come pry it out of your cold dead hands.
Well, reminder onto Nico, and so MongolZ looking for a follow-up kill. Test says pushes in towards him. And against some of the battered and bruised weapons, G2 have got the two-man opener. A fourth round teed up thanks to MongolZ's AWP. Kixon actually got beyond the fire without even taking a tick of damage and giving away the sound cue. Unfortunately for Kixon, everybody else is going down, so he takes that fight against MongolZ, hops up.
Yeah, but even gets a leg shot.
Yeah.
MongolZ has himself quite around. 2 kills and a leg shot onto Kixon. It's a 4-on-2. And even G2 can't lose this one. We're testing. We're testing the jinx.
We're seeing how far we can go with this one. All right,
we're testing it early, seeing what the grand final powers are going to be like today.
Dexter getting spotted here at Market. He's going to be pinned back, and with all that util coming in, I think we're going to be fine. Just G2 take a 4th round victory at the end of the first half here. Dexter through the smoke. There's one. Remember Heavy God though. Big old flank coming in. As long as his teammates delay long enough, this flank should be the insurance policy.
There's no kit and there's no smoke for the defuse, so I mean, pick Heavy God or Snacks. One of them is going to win this round no matter what happens.
Well, looks like it's going to be Heavy God. Walks right into them, Kixon gone. Dexter now dropped to MongolZ. So 4 rounds secured from G2. Kicks off with a pistol round they should have won. And it was a recovery mission from that point onwards.
Look, I think if you're G2, that's a really shaky start when you consider you went down like, what, 06 or 07, but you combine that with the disaster of a pistol round that you lost, a 5-on-3 and a post plant, and you don't win it out. That half started just about as bad as you could have had a nightmare about last night. So for G2 to recover and scrape together 4, it isn't bad, all things considered. Let's see what this second half is going to have in store for us. Falcons switching over to the T side of Mirage. G2 going to be defending.
Just such a narrative-rich game, and you know, every camera shot, there's some sort of link you can find. Obviously, with Hunter and Nico, I think Hunter is such an interesting story too. We're kind of in that shift from G2 to Falcons. You look at Hunter's now career moment. There's a big change that needs to come. You know, he needs to take a next step. He's been used to playing with Nico for such a long time. Nico's gone. He was at least with MongolZ, but that's changing. So now, where does Hunter's career go? Where does he decide to take his career in an in-game leadership direction or more of a central figure of the team? It's interesting to look there.
All the conversation around Hunter from Taz and from the team and the organization has been how much he's stepped up since Nico's departure in terms of calling specifically on CT sides. Say Snacks plays a lot of anchor positions, so he doesn't necessarily always have a great glimpse of what's happening across the map, and obviously your anchor at the A-bomb site or your B-bomb site can't really control what you want to execute in middle. So Hunter and MongolZ have been the ones stepping up in that regard to be the leadership voices.
Fake towards B. And it's all about the A-pop out of Palace, and MongolZ isn't budging. He's in fact taking his silencer off. He wants to go loud and proud against Nico. And he will do exactly that. First headshot in, keeps his head tucked down, allows MongolZ to assist him, and MongolZ grabs a second. So G2, 4v2, bomb down inside of the A site, and MongolZ starts to realize that that rotation's likely coming back from B right about now. So he'll look for the fight against Kixen. Really fast reactions. This is still not done. Falcons pulled back an unthinkable pistol in the first half. Could they do it again here?
I'm curious what the idea is for Falcons for Kixen and Tess's, because the bomb is down out in the open, and surely MongolZ and MongolZ saw it and realized they have the bomb.
And Tess is so far away.
And
But
I think he's been
but he's got to fight. Oh my god. Tessus was the player to flip it back in the first half. He's running knife out though. Switches out to the USP. Snacks tucks himself in the corner. Guarantees that kill on Tessus.
What a rat Snacks is for just stopping.
Yeah, just lets him walk right into the trap. But Kickstad has to do it on his own now. 30 seconds. He's got all of his health still.
And they've let him have the bomb as well. They haven't really been challenging. He thought it was up top. Big
No way. No way. Not again. Falcons could rip this out of the hands of G2 once again in a pistol round. From 4v2 to 1v1, Heavy God moves forward. Kixan looks back, but Heavy God lands the all-important shot.
Oh man, they almost dropped both pistol rounds after being at such an advantage. That would have been a nightmare. G2 just barely survived thanks to the clutch from Heavy God. Beautiful shots from Kixen and Tess's down the stretch, but not enough to bring it back. You already stole one pistol round in this game. You're going to have to be content with it. This is such beautiful synergy between MongolZ and MongolZ, such great trust too, where he just crouches and says, you got next shot, man. You better get that kill. And it's perfect.
Falcons gonna buy back. Why would they not? An AK-47 for Nico. Once you've got that in your hands, always a chance to do something special.
Falcons at this event have never broken an opponent after losing the pistol round on their T side.
Maybe they could change that here.
They do have an AK-47 on Nico. He got shut down to the pistol. Shut down in the last round of the first half by MongolZ as well, so he's been cold for a few rounds, but yeah, a nice shot onto Snacks or a nice shot onto Hunter over at Catwalk, and all of a sudden you can have some access to the B-bomb site. Falcons haven't made their decision quite yet, but it's been a very quiet round. No mid-control, no smokes or utility. MongolZ and Hunter and MongolZ have free reign to just peek. A late one is going to come in, but they'll be in front of it, so they're going to see the whole time that nothing's home in middle.
MongolZ throwing the smoke back out of the window.
This vision, though, has pulled Hunter to be pretty committed to mid, so Snacks is on his own.
He's got a good spot, though, but that flash has put Snacks under quite a bit of pressure. He'll just change his position up, but more so the fact that Hunter's gone down. You look at Snacks to step up in a big way, but Nico clears him out, kicks and follows up, and G2 gone from this round.
Yeah, this is not good. This might be their first break. MongolZ rotating in towards market. A couple low HP players. I feel like MongolZ and Heavy God have to at least give this a look. You have to give it a look with this much time left in the bomb.
There's no kids. They're just backing away. This is done. So Falcons will change that fact. They will break after losing the T-pistol.
And Nico gets you that opening. The kill onto Hunter towards Catwalk. That first Tech 9 baits out the shots. Nico knows exactly where to turn and crouch and take his fight. Magisk builds upon it and kicks in. That Deagle, the ceiling kill. And it's the IGL for Falcons at the top of the scoreboard. 16-5. So much conversation around Nico for good reason. Around Dexter's level, around Tess's level at this event for Falcons. But it's Kixen here in the grand final who's getting them started in the right way.
And let's talk about the other side of the conversation. When we talk about G2, Snacks gets a lot of criticism for his lack of fragging ability, for his very quiet performances. He's having a good game by his own standards at the moment. He's 12-11, but it's the other players you want to step up. The likes of Heavy God and MongolZ who have been having quieter starts into this game. Gotta turn that around soon here. Otherwise, Falcons might just be closing out Mirage quicker than G2 would have liked.
Yeah, the supporting cast for G2 is not quite there yet. Heavy God enters this game as the 4th best player by rating at the event. MongolZ the 1st, Hunters the 11th. Got some strong performers in a G2 jersey today, but they're all quiet here on Mirage.
It's gonna be a simple hit for Falcons. Utility drops into B, putting pressure on Snacks. He's only got a Deagle and he's playing up close. Hunter, once again, not able to do anything from short. The one player that can make magic happen is the M4 in MongolZ's hands, but it's gone.
They couldn't find anything, and Tessis is the one who gets out and makes that first step on the ground. Keeps them some space, investigating with the MAC-10. Good double kill from Tessis, and that'll be double digits for Falcons. And around that, G2 fully invested. There's no money left in the bank, so G2, Heavy God has to keep this M4, and it's going to be pistols around it next round.
Starting to see a mountain that G2 are going to have to climb to get out of this.
Well, so the hunt begins. Although Nico mollies off all of his old teammates, they can no longer get through the murder hole. Doesn't matter, he handles it himself. 10th kill for Nico and 10th round for Falcons.
Yeah, money's in the bin for G2. It's gone. They have to take the more conservative approach here, which is allowing Falcons up to 11. This map picked by G2. Nuke up next. If you go down 0-2 in a best-of-5 grand final, a reverse sweep, almost impossible. And they'll set up traps inside of B. Falcons have shown this side of the map a lot of love. So G2 are hoping that trend continues. But Falcons do not go heavily towards the B bomb site. They spread out into a default, allowing Nico to play out from underpass. A slow, methodical creep towards short from Falcons. They are going towards the B bomb site. They are looking to finish on B, but all the pistols start to move away. They're coming towards the fight. Their setup inside of the site could have been a tantalizing trap, but as soon as they move into the open, the superior weapons will have no issue.
Yeah, just a slaughter over on Catwalk with the flames down. But all 5 players are here for Falcons, or the 4 remaining. Everyone's home at Catwalk, so they start to spread out a little bit just in case they were getting pushed out. Don't want to deal with the remaining pieces of that stack. Heavy God will peek from the bomb site. Good shot on a Magisk. Oh, can he turn it? Surely not.
He would need another. He doesn't get it on that peak. He'll land a body shot, but that's not enough. And MongolZ so low. Will march his way through the jungle. Hoping he can catch an aggressive Falcon in towards him, but we are looking 11-5 in the face.
So it's going to have to be a comeback for G2 down the stretch. They're back by 5 rounds after all is said and done here.
Yeah, one hell of a comeback as well, Jason. It's got to be a huge one.
We'll see if they can get MongolZ's op out in time to get that started. That might be a tool they absolutely need. Losing bonus isn't completely built up. 4,400 for MongolZ. Nobody's got the cash to drop one over, so yeah, you'll be starting this without a big piece of your defensive puzzle. All M4s for G2.
So you're telling me G2 need a comeback, and the key piece that has allowed those comebacks previously in the tournament has been the CT op of MongolZ, and they just can't afford it.
One of the things is just a nice big one to have. The best opper in the world. It's always good to have the op in his hands. You know, what's fun about this too is Falcons haven't really shown anything yet on this map in this game to G2. Obviously, they're going to have done their research and know what Falcons enjoy doing, but everything's been towards the B bomb site for Falcons to open things up. Pisteron was a fake towards B with the Palace hit that got destroyed, but second round was towards the B bomb site, next round was towards the B bomb site, and it's kind of just been all creep up, catwalk, and attack.
Yeah, they've been trying to hit that Hunter-Snacks combo. Definitely the weaker bomb site.
Yeah, you'd think, although with the way Hunter's been playing, although today a reversion back to what we're used to. He's been getting steadily better throughout 2025. This map won't be one he remembers. Round 17. Falcons just 2 rounds away from taking a first map victory.
Snacks and Hunter have got MongolZ now helping them over towards B. Snacks and Hunter will go short, boosting Hunter up on top. Snacks plays below him. MongolZ's job is to spot them if they come into the site.
Once again, showing a little bit of mid-control util at the base of Con. Rotating all the way back around. Hunter and Snacks are pushed forward on Catwalk, though, so they should be calling out. Hey, nobody be concerned about mid quite yet. Falcons complete the readjustment. 4 players at A ramp. Magisk lurking late in A Palace. And still mid-emphasis from this G2 defense, so Heavy God is going to have to just take a couple shots and survive.
They unleash out of the ramp into the A site. Smokes her up in MongolZ's face, and he takes bullets through it. 7 HP. And Tessus extends deeper into the site. Looking to fight Heavy God at CT spawn. Rotation now arriving here for G2 as they gather just behind that connector smoke. Oh, this setup from Tessus and Kicksan. It's going to be difficult to break this one apart.
There's no flash for the CTs either. They got nothing to turn this corner.
This is going to be rough. It's going to be so tough to get past Tessus first. Unless he looks away at the wrong time. That'll make it easier. Then Kicksan goes down because he's distracted from the connector play. So instead it's Dexter. And he's got a second. Rips him off the top of ticket. MongolZ silences him finally. Nico tapping out, changing to Tetris, and MongolZ gets to the site. Plant is not for Nico, but the time is not for G2. And MongolZ wraps around the back, but time's already gone. And Magisk, in all of the confusion, knifes Nico in the back. But still, Falcons find map points.
Great round from Dexter. I mean, like, he only gets 2 kills, right? But he gets the kills that put a stop to that coming completely crumbling down. That CT defense, they second-guessed it at the worst possible time. I think they realized as well, they too didn't really have a flash to set themselves up for a push, and everything was awkward. But giving it up in this fashion with the way they did it, just sold this post plant. Thank God for Dexter's double. And not losing his nerve when he gets shot at from top stairs. Beautiful taps from Nico, staying composed as we know he will. And no kit on MongolZ. So now has to be 7 rounds straight for G2.
Nico gets swung on. Dexter's going to land his, though. Being put under pressure. A lot of pressure. Kicksan doesn't have his gun out. Dexter's overrun. And that's the bomb. So Kicksan's got a dink. He can't get away. And G2's aggression in middle has worked out for a 3v2.
Yeah, perfect timing. It's right when Nico moved out of his cover and was in his most exposed. So that's an easy kill. And then you have the AWP who just gets pinned down behind the boxes. So well executed from G2, but this is recoverable. Bomb is dropped is the hardest thing for Falcons at this point. And the weapons being passed over. But Magisk and Tessus have cleared out the rest of the map. So you're going to know 3 defenders playing around the bomb. They've got 2 Molotovs. Flashbang as well.
Heavy God forced out of position. Tessa's gonna fight back for that. Falcons back on, 30 seconds.
They got a smoke now. They can actually just drop a smoke and grab the bomb. It has to be deep.
It's deep. It separates MongolZ, severs him off from his teammate. MongolZ looking to keep G2 in the map, otherwise it's closed. And Tessus would be the man to do it. Goes into the fight, and Falcons strike first. Map 1 victory here on Mirage, and it's done in convincing fashion.
Explosive start for Falcons, but a horrifying beginning for G2. Probably the worst they've looked in the tournament. It is the worst they've looked in the tournament.
For G2, this is Falcons' pick. They stole G2's opening of Mirage. But Nuke is a map that G2's only played once in the past month. They don't have a whole lot of officials on it. They haven't played it at this event. So, I mean, you come into this second map, and it's not one you have a whole lot of recent reps on. And Falcons just played immeasurably better than you on the first map. So a little bit dicey, and we're going to have to see all those guys bounce back, especially, by the way, MongolZ, who's going to be defending outside, where Nico is the primary attacker on the T side into him. And that relationship between those two, it's obviously been clear with the interviews MongolZ have been given. He looked up to Nico since the day he stepped foot in that team, was excited to be there to learn from him and play next to him and absorb everything he could. And now he's got to go up against him head-to-head in a grand final.
First time in a grand final without him on his team. He'll look up towards the top of Silo. It's Heavy God off to the races. The two players we ask impact from, and they immediately kick off the pistol with 3 kills.
Absolutely lovely from Heavy God. Taking out the players up on Silo. Nobody can wrap around. Nobody can harass MongolZ. And if you can't win a 5-on-3 in a pistol, you can for sure win a 5-on-2 in a pistol, Dinko.
Yep, that's definitely how it works. G2 are now committed outside. You've got Hunter pinned in the corner. There's no way they let this go, Jason.
Yeah, just imagine the calms, though, when everything settles and they're in a 5-on-2, and it's like, all right, nobody do anything stupid. Nobody do anything crazy.
Yeah, Snacks has got another headshot. Tesses prevents the clean sheet. Sees that of Hunter close towards him. MongolZ up next, but they will secure a pistol round for the first time in this grand final.
All right, they get to start this map off on the right foot at the very least, as long as they can get through the second round. Although with Falcons
didn't let the bomb plant.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be going for any kind of full investment. Maybe a couple deagles are brought out there, but beautiful shooting. It's not at Silo. It's actually just right at the box. Nobody can combine to cross over towards red box. MongolZ and Heavy God shut this pistol round down with a double kill apiece.
And yeah, as expected, no investment here for Falcons after not getting a bomb plant. G2 will be given the 2-0 lead.
And look, part of the reason why we talk about coming into this map wanting to see, especially on the G2 side, that's kind of, I guess, supporting cast isn't the best way to put it, but guys like MongolZ, Heavy God, and Hunter have big games is because while we're watching the unfortunate events unfold of G2 losing Nico at the end of last year after the Shanghai Major, now obviously coming into a world where they're going to lose MongolZ, you know, you can criticize them for letting those superstars go, but one of the positives that G2's had over this time is the talent they've brought in terms of MongolZ, in terms of Heavy God. A lot of positivity about what those guys are capable of and how important they're going to be to overcome the loss of your 2 superstar players. So having them perform well in a grand final is would obviously be a great sign. We didn't get it on map 1, but we've got them with a good start on map 2, and they can build into something. Heavy God's 5-0, MongolZ at 2-1 after these initial opening rounds.
Yeah, just getting to warm up against those ecos, get the stats boosted. But now we get into the first buy round. Falcons gonna have AK-47s on everybody bar Kixan, and what a game Kixan just had over on Mirage.
Right, I don't know if you can ask him to do it twice, especially twice in a row, but I don't even know what he ended on. At one point, I remember calling out a score at 16-5 for Kixan, so he was just an absolute beast. Doors blown open, lurk smoke thrown out in front of the vents. Chaos inside as nades rain in from both teams. But no aggression behind it. Smoke wall outside all at the same time. Nico and Kixan gonna start working as Heavy God pushes ramp.
Dexter to challenge him. This time we'll lose the fight. MP9 bests the Galil.
He did that on his lonesome as well. He's got Magic contestants in lobby with him, and either he didn't ask either of them to gather up and come with him, or both of them just ignored that call and just let him go on his own. So no chance to trade, no chance to re-secure that part of the map, but this mini lurk, oh, Nico, Hunter's just dead.
Peek from Heaven comes in as well. Oh, he goes out, he gets the information. The MongolZ dropped in. Kixan clears close vent. MongolZ needs to go massive. There's 2 kills already. 3rd picked up. And that was nearly everything. Nico just about surviving, but MongolZ with the magic that Falcons won.
Oh, that's a brilliant FAMAS round from MongolZ. Triple kill. I mean, the first kill that he snaps over on is like an instant headshot and cleanup. Nico takes him down. He even gets a dink onto Nico as well. Softens him up for the follow-up SMG up in Heaven.
Dude, that's crazy.
Now, this fight, that didn't need to be taken alone. I don't know what the comms were and what everyone was focused on, but when Kixan gets that kill, it feels like this is done. Just look at the way MongolZ steps up.
Especially because Nico had seen him go behind the side so early.
I'd had a chance to take him down if he gets a little bit more fortunate. That could have connected a headshot, and then you're not even in this situation. Hero AK-47 for Nico. He wants to limit the economic growth of this CT side, so kills are the name of the game for Nico. Hunt them down while baiting these pistols. And maybe when the dust settles, Falcons is in a position to convert the round.
Smoke dispersed. And Nico just got behind red in time. Well, the smoke's erected. They're going to charge a couple of players down in towards secret. 4, in fact, making it safely. And Hunter has already rotated down. He'll play just on those decon stairs. Minute on the clock.
He's the only one, and if he dies, Vent is no longer an option to rotate. So MongolZ would have to go towards Secret outside, which he'd have to clear everything on his way.
Well, Hunter needs to step up here then. NiKo's already taken up the angle. Sees them going past, takes a dink on board, no kill from Hunter. Problems now for G2. Heavy God trying to patch it up. It's one on Magisk. Hunter's getting pushed. NiKo's around the back. And NiKo also getting the information of the whereabouts of the Secret possibility. Dexter's going to stand there and hold it, and they walk right in towards him. He sees that MongolZ is about to peek out from the right side of the ramp with Heavy God in front of him. Kicksand's in the position to deal with that threat. They walk right into the Tech 9. MongolZ, quick shot. AK-47 switched out too, and this time TeSeS will deny any MongolZ moments.
Oh, you like that attitude though. MongolZ wasn't giving up on that retake after that beautiful shot, but can't get anything after the fact. So Falcons went around with an AK-47 on NiKo and Tech 9s and a Deagle. A low buy. And converted against G2, so money's in an odd place. G2 have to buy here. MongolZ at 4,600, Heavy got at 2K. It's not pretty, but they've got to scrape something together, and actually they choose to play it conservative. Okay, I actually kind of like that this early in the half.
Yeah, you want as many gun rounds as possible. They had a lot of issues at times throughout Mirage where they just didn't really have all the resources they needed. So they're going to want to keep MongolZ on the AWP as much as possible. Everybody on the rifle of choice, all the util they could need. They will concede one extra here. And MongolZ's going to go over towards Secret. Deagle in his hands as he comes up towards the top.
And actually, NiKo's outside alone.
Oh, and he spotted him. MongolZ in a duel with NiKo. A little bit of health off the top. Grenade to go forward, and TeSeS will deal with the MongolZ threat. That really was the only danger.
Yeah, really nice shot from TeSeS as well. NiKo was having a hard time connecting it. That Deagle had plenty of opportunities. That makes G2 feel a little nervous about downstairs, so Snax has shifted over to Secret. TeSeS is going to work his way in. NiKo in support. They'll come back and deal with MongolZ, and that's the round. Second for Falcons, 3-2.
Yeah, expected result in this round is G2 take the conservative economic approach, but the buy's coming back in just a moment.
Hunter mentioned in an interview coming into this match how him and NiKo just hate playing against each other. They don't like preparing for each other, don't really like competing against each other. And probably most importantly, the families don't like it. Obviously, the families of Hunter and NiKo spending a lot of time watching Counter-Strike when the boys are playing. But in this game, it might not be the same kind of family gathering going on. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more Rakia being passed around.
Tough to know who to root for. Snax toppled. So TeSeS looks down the line, realizes...
It's like, sorry, NiKo, I had to kill your boy that round.
Had to get the job done. He's going to be their teammate in a very short amount of time. For TeSeS, maybe even a short amount of time.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, that's the whole thing with the whole rumor situation going on. Obviously, one came out just before the event began, or just as the event began. Kiyosuke targeted by Falcons as well. We assume that's for the TeSeS position, but there's no information on timetable. That could be 6 months down the road. It could be never.
Dexter.
The way he's playing, it might be never.
Oh, challenges MongolZ. In fact, MongolZ was the one to step into him, and Dexter was just quicker to react. Magisk also following up here for Falcons. So round 6 kicks off with Falcons on a double opener.
And with those 2 kills, you can take a lot more space really early on. Dexter's going to be calling out. There's an all picked up and recovered over in ramp room. That's Heavy God. He's spotted too. So outside, the Falcons players feel like they've got a lot of freedom to push forward. He's going to investigate Secret. And you could see G2, the read. They believe that Falcons is going to end at this lower bomb site. All 3 players descending. Snax and Vents, Heavy God, control side, and Hunter over towards Decon. And we just had the desk. We just had Yanko take a look at a very similar round and situation that G2 had played on Inferno, where an extended mid-round, they failed to kind of send a Hunter out to a bomb site to figure out like a player who could just go clear the bomb site on his own and get information. That's what Falcons is doing here with NiKo. Everyone grouped up looking for pushes because of so much time. NiKo's going to be the one to challenge this. 1 kill, spots another. All right, boys, go Signal.
And that's exactly what they'll do. Kicksand goes out of the door. Make sure no one's inside of the site. No one can unravel this round. And the objective is to now save the AWP in the hands of Heavy God and the AK with Snacks. So tied scoreline. Not a bad start for Falcons this T side here.
It's certainly starting to feel like it's warmed up, hasn't it? Last 3 rounds from Falcons in a row, one of them a save round. But 2 gun rounds in their pocket, at least for G2. Heavy God has got this AWP, so can pass that off to MongolZ. We were so locked into that ramp room aggression. I'm not sure where Magus gets his kill, but it comes in tandem with Dexter's opening frag with the ult.
Terrorists win.
If you're Falcons, you got to realize G2's money cannot be very good right now. But you know that they've likely saved an AWP.
Yeah, AWP and rifle on the board, and you got to be careful because you know they can force buy around it. So, I mean, Falcons, you come into this one, you just treat it like it's going to be a full buy. Treat it as any other round. First time out taken for G2 out of the 3 losses they've taken in a row. Dexter had an excellent map 1 amidst all the drama of the MongolZ signing coming into Falcons for his position during an event where he's played spectacularly.
Who knows when the next time he'll get to play in a grand final is, right? So who knows the next time we get to see him play CS. There's a real world in which he then
I don't know, man.
hits
Like
the bench and he'll be there for a while.
I think there's
gonna happen.
I think there's a world where like Counter-Strike purists probably watch Dexter and are a little bit uneasy with some of his decision making, some of his positioning, but I don't think anyone can deny the kills and impacts that he simply just gets for you.
Yeah, especially if he gets a win here today.
Yeah. So I think, you know, I don't think Dexter should have any crazy issues finding a team after the fact.
Oh, it's 21-9 on that opening map that you mentioned. Outside smokes erected. Nico just trying to spam down through them. The force around the 2 save weapons is limited. They leave $2,000 average. So it's Deagles and a 5-7.
Looks like G2 just going to hit an upper bust here. Just say, you know what, we have way more utility than you. We have way better weapons than you. We have more flashbangs and Molotovs. Let's just hit it. And if you got all 5 players here, fair play. But they know an AWP was saved. They know it's unlikely for the AWP to be in the upper bomb site. So instead of spreading around the map and trying to work it and getting picked off by Deagles, by AWPs, just an execute. And here it comes.
Snacks with that AK. He's standing around here. Although flashed in the open. Distraction set up. Snacks nearly mows down 3, but single digits on the kills for the time being here.
Fast flank. Heavy God's already in hut.
Oh, it's got to be the moment that opens up the round again. No one's watching for it, but he's not in a position to deny the plant. But MongolZ's AWP has now chimed in on the server, and he gets out. He gets the pick. Nico gets the kill back, but Mulps gives him a taste of the deagle. And look who it is. It's Dexter, so quietly coming back down the T roof. And MongolZ's waiting for him to walk back into lobby. He's waiting for this exact move, but MongolZ goes into the open. And a quick taste of the sniper to put G2 up to 4.
Some fine Deagle work around that AWP. Man, Falcons break in, but it doesn't matter. The position over towards ramp room, the extra step taken by Heavy God and MongolZ. Just find them the perfect flank, the perfect kills. MongolZ grabs one, falling back to Squeak Door to be able to protect the flank, and then the Deagle unleashes inside the bomb site. A stunning round that leaves Falcons a little bit sad. 4-3 in the favor of G2. Money back in their favor as they pick up some recovered weapons.
Kixan is always willing to go to a MAC-10. So where does he decide to go with this one?
All 5 players inside. No smoke wall. Nico's not coming outside. We're going right back into upper.
Yeah, MAC-10, a clear signal. It's a fast play into A. Kixan leading the charge out. He's first to go down. Smoke blows open slightly. Hunter getting spotted. Goes against him. It's Nico to win that fight again. And for G2, it's frustrating to be locked out of the site for the time being. They've got to go retake 4v4.
Oh, you got to boost up. How do you want to do this? Nico goes up in towards rafters. Smoke is still there. Mulbs with a big flank, but Dexter and Squeakdoor is watching it. Mulbs shouldn't be able to have an impact in this round. Dexter should be able to handle it.
Dude, when is this smoke at Heaven fade? But this is the fight down at door. Mulbs comes out on top. Tessus to trade it. But remember where Nico is. There's no way they're ready for this. Snacks runs right by him. MongolZ's stuck on the ladder. He's frozen out. He can't get back into this position thanks to Nico. Time's gone. Heavy God still fighting forward. But with Nico's smart reposition from the rafters to Heaven, he cuts out any chance that G2 have of getting back in on that retake.
Yeah, there's not enough positions in the upper bomb site for all 5 players, so the fact that boost him up gives him way more options of where to position after the fact, and he just does it perfectly. But that's a good round to talk about Dexter a little bit, how I mentioned. I think the Counter-Strike, like purists and like textbook kind of players are looking at it, and so like his job is to watch the flank. So why is his aim moving everywhere? Why is he looking everywhere? Why is he like questioning what his teammates are doing? His only responsibility is to watch for MongolZ. Takes his crosshair away for a couple of seconds and MongolZ gets the jump on him. We're all tied up at 4.
Well, Dexter loves being in more responsible roles. He loves getting more aggressive, taking fights. You don't put him in a position where he just has to sit and wait. He wants to take the fight to them. There's some aggression here outside. It was detected early on, and so Tess says over the top of Silo has removed MongolZ from the early proceedings of round 9. Nico will clear MongolZ, and the aggressive stance from G2's defense is cut open by Falcons.
MongolZ goes very deep for an angle, overexposed up to Tess's, and now you get to play a minute and a half in a 3 versus 5.
Well, you are going to have to ask more of Hunter here in this situation. You're going to have to get that impact out of Heavy God if they're going to flip this 3v5 back. Falcons realize they have so much time. Not rushed into anything. And they've got util. Plenty of it.
Although G2's not really defending anything at the moment. Snax is up in heaven, peeking into the upper bomb site. Heavy God playing outside at CT box. Hunter and Big Garage, again, just kind of a gamble of saying, if you come outside with numbers, we have the people here to fight back. Everything else, we'll just see what you give us. And it's not going to be much, because into the upper bomb site we go. Snax swings, but he's already missed the opportunity. And I don't think you go for this.
Got one flash for Hunter, and that would be it. So they're gonna back away, they'll save, and yeah, when that window of opportunity shuts in Snax' face as Tessus moves into the site, it's job done. We're looking at 5 here for Falcons, and just too strong of a start into the round.
Yeah, G2's got, I mean, G2 can drop a weapon over. They've got 3 rounds of a losing bonus built up, so Heavy God will be able to drop an M4, so they absolutely had to have this save. MongolZ can by himself, MongolZ will need the weapon. This map is potentially slipping away from G2 completely. 5 of the last 6 rounds in the favor of Falcons. Once the guns have come out in round 4, well, I should say round 4 was an AK on Nico and Tech 9s on everyone else. Falcons was able to convert it, but since then the gun rounds have all been in the favor of Falcons. G2 haven't been able to stop it. Talk about that supporting cast of Heavy God and Hunter. Well, MongolZ, I think, is the one who, for the rest of this map, is going to have the job of changing how things are going outside. Slow down Nico. Slow down Falcon's ability to get over towards Secret, to get kills outside, to harass you, to pick you off, to make your defense weakened. He's going to have to be the guy that puts a stop to Nico. And remember, it's that tough prospect of this is the guy stepping into Nico's shoes within G2. He's the guy who's taken over all the roles Nico used to have. While Nico was in the team, he had to change his roles. And he's given plenty of interviews talking about how all he's trying to do at the moment is absorb everything that Nico had taught him during his time together and find ways to implement it within the game, to have the same perspective, to understand the Nico perspective. He's getting a real close lesson today. 10-7 for Nico, 4-6 for MongolZ throughout the 9 rounds of play so far.
Outside wall up. G2 have been slapped away from any aggressive stances from their previous round. So Falcons feel comfortable to move with all of their players, bar 1, behind these secret smokes. Nico leading that charge.
It's an early smoke from MongolZ. It's going to disappear quite early. And look at the look he's going to be given.
Oh yeah, this is going to be tough for MongolZ to get away. Nico elevated on the boost, just out to the left side. Does MongolZ overextend? No, he does not. He maintains his position just outside of the double door. Spots out Nico, but you can't stop that.
Oh my God, that's so fast from Nico. Heavy God doing what he can, but
he's locked him out.
Yeah, the Molotovs and the smokes right in.
G2's former star is quickly becoming their #1 nightmare here on Nuke. Forced into the save call. Locked from outside in the previous round. They had to know it was going to be difficult to keep track of Nico on the yard. They had the luxury of him being in their squad for so long, and he was able to rule the outside for them. The G2 have a problem to try and fix. And they've thrown a couple of different looks at it already. They had the aggressive stance in the previous round. They're a little more passive this time. Neither have worked.
They don't have any good options to switch into at this point. Outside of maybe MongolZ coming outside with the AWP, although they've tried that as well, and he was picked off by Tesses. 6 of the last 7 now for Falcons. 5 of which they've gotten into the bomb sites and planted, having no issues getting a bomb plant when they want it, Falcons. And here is MongolZ outside with the AWP, although this time not aggressive, playing back in Garage. And this time it's just Nico taking control and establishing presence all on his own.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to play with those smokes outside.
Well, they've abused him so many times in secret and lower that they're just showing for the lower presence, and there's MongolZ. Good shot.
And well, there's one way to deal with him. MongolZ's up. Here comes the ramp play. Heavy God's going to call MongolZ back to help. Dexter holding for it, but MongolZ wins the fight on the peak. And we still got Heavy God up next. MongolZ is the early fireworks show, and Heavy God perhaps the finisher. Tess caught through that smoke, and Falcons stalled out.
Yeah, you had to know that it wasn't going to be just one man in ramp room, one AWP. You just saw MongolZ outside, so when that rings out over towards ramp room to get the Dexter kill, your heart sinks as Falcons. You know there's 2 defenders in the upper site. Hunter will be forced into the open, or saved.
Saved by the smoke, but the bomb is dropped down the vent. Magis is going to try and cut off the rotation, but Kicksan's got a lot of work to do on his own. Magis is gone, needs to win this fight, and just not clean on the taps.
6-5. G2's brought it within 1. They can the best they can hope for is evening things up for halftime. Plenty of money for Falcons, so another full buy for them. And for G2, a spotless round. So don't have to be concerned about cash in round 12. But here's the swap. Nico just crouch sliding into the angle, and Dexter fires off a little bit early. So ramp room holds strong, and G2 holds strong for 5th round.
First time out of the half here for Falcons, and it comes in the final round. Round 12, as they set up with a full buy again. Much quieter map here from Dexter. Over Mirage is 21-9, currently 3-7 after the first half of play, at least so far.
Final round of the first half. Second map of the grand finals. First map, a 13-5 win for Falcons back on Mirage. Switching into their map pick of Nuke, nursing a 1-round lead. MongolZ outside alone, but he does have support of MongolZ from afar, is going to be playing up at Heaven.
This time, Nico's bringing a little bit of help with him. Didn't have it in the previous round. MongolZ's peering over the top of the smokes. Gonna break one for MongolZ. Nico's gonna cross though. He makes it down towards Secret.
What's the reaction? Who rotates from G2? Heavy God just stepped down from ramp room. MongolZ has dropped vents. So a 2-man defense for Falcons to break through. MongolZ at decon stairs, Heavy God at control stairs.
MongolZ did not have early success here as Nico took him down in the previous round. He's changed it up slightly. He's going to play in the vent. Oh, pulls utility at possibly the worst possible time. Magis goes down to the rifle of Heavy God. MongolZ now staying in the vent, loses the fight against Kixan. Heavy God with more heavy lifting and can't handle Dexter.
But MongolZ's downstairs already. Oh, look at this lurk.
Noisy drop, noisy drop. He knows he's got the gap. He knows he's got the timing.
He's told his team to freeze. They're giving him the time to make the play.
Tessus has got this one on lock. He has got MongolZ first. And he's just going to take that shot, go into the sight, and the second shot is brutal. It'll be a 7-5 lead for Falcons.
I'll tell you what, Tessus isn't sad about any of the rumors because he's playing for a contract. This is unreal. That's such a sick performance and such great trust shown in the rest of Falcons for him to control the situation on the flank and say, pause, stay alive, I'll win this round for you. There will be no danger from ramp room. And then he delivers on top of it. Falcons gonna take a 7-5 lead into the second half.
Terrorists win.
Closed out by a double from Dexter. But it's Tessus that topples any retake attempt. If G2 go down 0-2 at the start of this best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how difficult and how few times we've seen a reverse sweep in a best
and you
of
add
5.
that into a team that can't possibly feel together right now, Jason. You know, they've been having a great run here, but everything's going their way, right? They only dropped one map on the way to the grand finals. We haven't seen them be tested, lose a series, have to come back into the tournament. So how strong is their mental?
It's true. They haven't been challenged yet at this event, so we're about to find out right now. They don't get a whole lot of time to prove it. They don't get any practice runs at it either. So G2 gonna have to wake up. Tough task against them, especially with the Falcons playing so strong. You see them just playing really, really well together. Communication is obviously flowing. The fundamentals are there. Intelligent peaks and discipline and not trying to do too much. Falcons is a tough opponent to get over at the moment.
And you're seeing smiles on Zonic's face, and I think over the last
For the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, over the last 2 years, we've just seen misery on his face. Disappointment after disappointment. He's built numerous squads. Finally got the piece that he desired most in Nico. And 2 grand finals this year looking for their first title. Quick play into the ramp room. Kixan to peek out first. MongolZ and Hunter trading back, and Snacks keeping G2 ahead.
Okay, Nico's dropping down right now. They're going to beat him over to the bomb site, but he can get a good standing over towards control side. Snacks going to creep over towards Dark. Wants to flash in towards Decon so they can clear things out. That gives Nico more time and more space.
Creeping into the control room. Spotting one and immediately taking the headshot.
And now they're stuck. Oh, Dexter, he's coming back. I thought he was going to be watching for this.
No, he gives him the gap. He gives him the way out, but he's coming back now to watch the vent. Dexter still could shut this on them, but they move into it. It's Nico to fall, and now they have access to the vent to climb back up into the A site.
Oh, I cannot believe that timing was missed. I cannot believe they were given the escape route. Dexter going to come right back up. They never saw him, so at least he's got the element of surprise. But such tough positions to clear them out of. MongolZ tucks into the corner behind the vent. Heavy God playing over towards T-Lobby.
He's got to be silent getting back into the site, but lack of kit is going to force him to move forward quickly. Eventually, he's got to go loud here, and he realizes it's right now. So he goes and clears that vent, but the MongolZ peek gives him a shot at this. Dexter taps the defuse. No full commitment yet. Heavy God's not going to show him anything. And here's those steps to confirm that it is not the stick from Dexter. Heavy God, by just playing the time and securing the headshot, has collected the pistol here for G2.
Perfect work from Heavy God. Really well done. Understanding that bomb is a teammate, and you know he's got to fiddle with it. So, look, 7-5, now 7-6. Both pistols won by G2 in this second map. You can't ask for much more in terms of starting each of these halves in a very critical map in this series. 3-man stack over in ramp room doesn't get nearly enough done, but really the cardinal sin is letting them out of decon for free and giving them access to vents when you had them trapped.
Oh, tagged through the smoke. MongolZ down to 31. He's not going to be too happy about that start to the round, and getting ever closer to taking him down. He couldn't be closer, in fact. MongolZ gets away by the skin of his teeth. And many more players have gotten down secret.
Yeah, I think Dexter for sure confirmed that they're going downstairs. Does Falcons want to fight for it? Fully invested in this second round. Tesses and Magix and Nico are going to be nearby, and all of them stepping down in towards ramp room. Dexter looking for the fallback with the scout. Falcons have information. "42 seconds left. I'm a little bit scared for G2. All 4 players are going to be coming out of decon. 1 door, 1 choke point.
MP9, not good enough. Not good enough, but Nico's deagle unrevealed until this point. Damage done onto a second player. Tessa's moving in now. Nico's got another kill. Disaster could strike here in the lower bomb site for G2 as they try and get away. They try and run away again.
They have time. They have time.
They've got 10 seconds to make it up, and that bomb is on their backs.
Oh my lord, what an escape route. I cannot believe they just slipped the net. They found it again, much like the pistol round just the previous round. Kixon and Dexter. Falcons felt like they had a chance to steal that round away, but it's all been taken out of their hands. And you cannot go for this.
Frustratingly close for the Falcons in the end, but G2 find the escape path at just the right time.
Oh, the MP9 inside the bomb site felt like the one. That felt like that was in such good position to at least grab 1 kill. Nico does his job with 2, playing clock. But G2 still get out of the danger and avoid a devastating round loss. It's 7-7, and out around this MP9 and Scout, there's not going to be any money for Falcons CT side.
Terrorists win.
Back-to-back rounds, the vents have been the saving grace for G2 as they bail out of the lower bomb site.
You still got a few dangerous pieces in this next round for Falcons, despite being expected to lose it. You've got Dexter on the scout, deagle still in the hands of Nico. And Kixan still has that MP9. G2, with Galil still on 3, it's not the strongest buy from them. Gotta give Falcons a shot here again. Smokes are up. Nico hoping to connect a lucky shot on a good timing.
Looks like Dexter has a crack in the smoke. He does. He's tagged Snacks. Almost another chance. Dinked up. Ooh, almost tagged another. Okay, he's counted numbers at the very least. So identical round, essentially.
Yeah, but Falcons have quickly dived down towards the B bomb site here. You know, Tessus is just outside of the double doors. Magisk is inside of vent. And Nico has them cut off. He's behind them at secret. This could be another chaotic finish. But this time, Nico around the back misses his shot. They charge towards him, getting 1 kill on m0NESY, but they escape again up through secret.
Yeah, but this time, since Falcons knows it and they're here, they can flank fast 1 and 2. They already have players ready to challenge for the fallback in towards Mini. Tessus gets 1. Dexter adds another. It's coming crumbling down.
Oh, 2 players left. Heavy Cobb mobs. Can they save them again? Heavy Cobb being peppered from behind, gets around the corner. Plant is in, so it's down to the retake. This time, Falcons have significant numbers advantages. They're gonna wait on the outside. A single flash.
Falcons organizing this. 3 from Heaven, 1 from Mini.
There goes the flash, and here come Falcons, swooping down into the site. 2 headshots back to back. That's Falcons with weaker guns coming out on top of G2.
And you could feel that coming. You could feel that building because G2 had their number in the previous round, now again. But the courage from Nico, but also it's also the missed smoke. Like the courage from Nico, the read of Nico is fantastic, but he never gets that read if that smoke is lined up to a point where Dexter cannot see every single number. He tags 1, MP9 peppers another 1. Dexter sees 2 more crossing, takes a shot at 1. So he's able to call out. 4 players have gone down secret, which gives Nico all the information he needs to understand. He's got safety if he wants to make that play.
And Tessus is just so reliable, right? He gets that one kill from heaven, but you just felt like he was going to get it.
And then he's the sacrificial lamb jumping out so he can take all the aim away on the heaven retake. Really solid play from Tessus. 13 kills, 15 for Nico.
And money's on the ropes for G2. Like, they buy back again here, but it's in a pretty weak spot. 3 rifles, Deagle, Mac-10. A real shot now for Falcons to snatch all the momentum towards the end of Nuke.
Yeah, and Falcons is playing with this lead in a map where Magisk is sitting at 2 kills.
And they've lost both pistols.
And they've lost both pistols.
Not a pretty sign for G2 at the moment.
No, Falcons have been able to absorb every punch they've thrown in this grand final. And now nothing outside, no smoke walls. Nico's like, here's my utility, because they're not doing anything outside. Snacks are going to come in late to set it up, so Nico plays single box.
Dexter getting the ramp in time. Here they come. Missed shot. Tessa's descending. Dexter now committed behind the box, and a lot of utility landing on towards him as well. So Dexter unable to handle the pressure.
Yeah, Tessa is probably saying, my bad. He missed that first kill. He wasn't able to keep the space for his AWPer. So Dexter goes down, pinned behind the single box, and now they've forced this Falcons defense into a weak position. Magisk and Tessus have both rotated downstairs, but the hit is coming upper. And Nico is still outside, so it's only Kixon.
He needs to get a good timing to look towards Hut, and yes, he will, but it's only a single kill. Effective trading from MongolZ and G2 into the A site. Retake again needed from Falcons.
And Magisk has chosen to go into vents, so he's going to have to be the third one playing. He's going to have to see what Nico and Tessus can create to get him involved in the fight. Flashbang is there, so Magisk comes up. Snacks takes one down over towards Mini, traded off.
We need Magisk now to have the impact. Nico moves in with him, so Heavy God. A lot of work needed inside of Hut. It all falls on his shoulders to close this round out. They know where he is. No one's on that defuse, and then Magisk hits the headshot. Finally, a little bit more impact from the Dane.
Yeah, 2 kills. Really well done for Magisk in this round. In the retake, Nico's able to get a frag to open things up. Snacks traded off by Magisk. That's the big-time kill that allows him to swing into the bomb site. But a little bit of a sketchy round as Falcons' ramp defense doesn't give them quite the results they would have liked. But able to recover once again in the post plant, which is an area of the game they have decimated G2 in across these opening 2 maps. Post plant's firmly in control of Falcons. And here's that painful inevitability for G2 in that round losses. Even with the bomb plant, you're just out of resources to fight with. Fake upper rush to ramp room.
Tessa's waiting. This time it's 1 and a drop down. He's running out of ammo. Still makes the most of it. Gets a headshot. Sees they're continuing the push, and he's under so much, but he's got Magisk with him. And the Danish combo stops the attack from G2.
Yeah, the Danish connection. Really good job from Magisk. Another double for him. He's now up to 6 frags on the map. Kixon might get caught.
Definitely will. There's the bomb plant as well.
Yeah, but they're going to buy in the next round regardless, so Falcons ain't too worried about this.
Oh, an M4 picked up.
Oh, that hit a bump that made it bounce very long.
And the grenade will grab Hunter.
The nades just chose not to be kind to Hunter in that situation.
Yes, he definitely had a rough time. Periods of uncomfortability at the start of both halves for Falcons, but I think from the majority of the gun rounds and these low buy rounds, they still look very comfy across the team. Smiles on their faces still as we now look at a 10-7 scoreline, a map 2 of this best of 5.
Yeah, and closing this map out on the CT side, I think it would be an extra source of positivity for the Falcons. It's Nico comes into this team and kind of takes over the calling on the CT side. He's mentioned a few times that he thinks Zana gave him a little bit too much room to be creative and have his own ideas and kind of call whatever he wants. And he said lately, these past few events, he's been going back to Zonic for a little bit of help and putting together ideas and coming up with game plans for their defensive sides. Those two working in tandem could be a scary prospect.
Yeah, taking some time to figure out the dynamic. MongolZ again, heavy damage outside. A relatively frustrating half for MongolZ. Feels like he's either taken damage or gone down first quite a bit.
I don't think he's gotten a kill yet in the second half. I think he ended with 10.
So more than rough for MongolZ. G2 occupying the steps outside the lower bomb site, but Tessus now stepping a little closer to the double doors.
Nico's here with him as well.
m0NESY's low in HP, so even if he gets one, should get traded very quickly. Need to be rapid to both headshots. Well, he's managed to separate them into 1v1s, but Nico lets him take the fight. Hunter trades out. And now with 40 seconds left, MongolZ tries to make a play through a main, getting caught by Magisk, and a 3v3 established off the back of these skirmishes. Great move from Dexter to look out to the left side. Hunter's gone. Plant stopped.
And Heavy God's a lurk, so he's not even close. He's got to make his move right now. There's one player in the upper bomb site, but his teammate's gone down below, and in fact, he couldn't even beat out Magisk.
It just didn't feel like G2 were in that round at a certain point. Like, we're getting to the end of the road for Nuke.
Well, Snax is pushed up on that ramp on the lower bomb site, and he's trying to hold back with the molly on the left side. He's trying to hold back the Dexter peak on the right side so his teammate can cross into the site, but his angle is so shallow that Dexter just gets a free shot and sends it home, ruining the plant and taking away the pressure that would have allowed Heavy God more room to make his lurk play. Would have forced Magisk to start thinking about a rotation, but it just never came in. So pistols again for G2, looking for a miracle towards the end of the half.
Not going to connect that first shot. Here comes the speed from G2. But when the AWP misses, the rifles connect, and Dexter can relocate back for another kill. It is 12-7. Map point again from Falcons. And we're talking 13-5 on Mirage into a 13-7 possibility here on Nuke.
Yeah, this has been a very dominant grand final. The G2 just have not really showed up to the perfect, to the level we know they can play at, that we've seen them play at this event. Heavy God doing everything he can at 16-9. Only Nico has more kills in the server at 17. But no production from G2 in this second half, really. They win the pistol in the second round, they convert it, but it's been 5 in a row for Falcons, and a lot of it is, unlike Falcons on their T side, we saw a few rounds, like going outside, you know, Dexter would get a pick with the AWP, Magisk found a pick. They'd be able to play some 5-on-4s and 5-on-3s and work the map with a man advantage, 2-man advantage. G2's not finding those same picks, and they're kind of working these maps in 5-on-5s where Falcon's able to move around and have their defense set.
Snax is the T-sided player for G2 to operate outside. They could have got down secret. Falcons will be aware of that, but no one has in fact crossed over.
Upper exec for G2. Snax is going to throw the smoke wall as a fake to try and keep someone's attention outside.
The second pump of util lands at the 1-minute mark.
3 defenders in the upper bomb site, though.
This looks impossible to break through. This looks so strong right now for Falcons. Util's got to do its job. Magisk blinded. Perfect in terms of getting that kill, but it's all about Dexter inside a ramp now, not dropping down. Now he decides to. He's got Nico coming over, but unable to do much from that heaven peak, or rather hell. And now we've got 30 seconds on the clock. Snax on the wrap outside. Tess says plays at heaven.
If Snax calls them back to the upper bomb site, they're in trouble because Kixon's moved into this position.
Yeah.
A really good piece of mid-round aggression, and he could cut them all off. 20 seconds.
And Heavy got so low, he would die instantly. And that's the peak that's coming first. It's a headshot. It's information. More importantly, 14 seconds left. Tessus trying to deny any access into the site in the dying embers of the round. Hunter's in the clutch. The 1v2 as he puts the bomb down. Tessus is already on him, suffocating them and closing out Nuke. They are 2-0 up in the best-of-5 final, and this looks destined to go Falcons' way.
It's certainly looking that way, Dinko. I mean, G2 just haven't been in this grand final yet. 2-0 up for Falcons, and it is a long way back for...
Today there was an opportunity, one single chance to do it without him, and right now it's looking like that is going to prove impossible. They're 2 maps down in this best of 5, and if they want to come back into the final, they got to be the second team in history to reverse sweep their way back to a win.
And it's not looking like they're going to be that third team from what we've seen so far in the first 2 maps. Critical pieces for this team are quiet. MongolZ has been great, but not dominant. Heavy God had a good second map, but things were quiet on the first. Mobs and Hunters still haven't had the impact we're used to seeing from them here at this event in these grand finals as well. All those pieces need to step up, and Ancient needs to be completely different. Very fast round, rushed pistol towards Red Room, and Falcons still have no idea. Now it seems they're tracking the footsteps.
Yeah, 4 players starting on B. They're coming back to spot out that play, but it leaves Magisk in a position where he has no help. But Kixas just spotted everybody as Heavy God decides to turn and fight. They're getting into a brawl, and Hunters come out on top of the duel versus Dexter, and Nico's on 9 HP.
All right, let's see what you got.
Nothing.
Ironically, the smoke Magisk throws actually ruins G2, which ruins Falcons. They're all coming in full speed, no breaks, ready to get into the retake, ready to get into a battle. And when they turn the corner, they realize that G2 has just stopped cold and all 5 players are watching them because the smoke is in place and they don't know where to go.
And so, very strange pistol round to watch play out, but I think G2 are going to be very happy about the result. They won both pistols on Nuke, though, Jason. It didn't really turn out to mean a whole lot.
Gun rounds were completely in the favor of Falcons throughout the second half of Nuke. I think the one biggest area in which Falcons has just been destroying G2 across both of the first 2 maps of play, both Mirage and Nuke, has been post plants on both sides of the map. Retakes have been excellent for Falcons. We saw that a number of times on Mirage and on Nuke. Post plants on the T side have been so good, so sharp, so smart. Nobody overextending, everyone playing together. It's stark contrast to what we've seen in those scenarios from G2 as well.
Yeah, we also seen a low buy victory over on Nuke, right, where Nico's Deagle was proving a real problem. You had Dexter on the scout. He did have a scout to start off this round, but decided to instead save a little bit of extra money for that all later down the line.
All right, well, G2 hears 4 nades explode over at elbow. Spread in a 2-2-1 start, so nobody really took the opportunity to press any advantages. Heavy God's on his own, so you can understand why there. G2 not wanting to mess with A main out of the gate, so everyone's going to rotate back to the B bomb site as the map goes quiet. And Falcons are going to read this and take the risk to stack it up. 4 defenders here. 1 smoke on Magisk. Kixon has one as well, so as soon as he spots, he'll drop.
Silently going into the smoke ramp, ready to explode out of it with the flashes. They charge in, Kicksan, 5-7, 2 kills. Actually, just the one. Magisk got it back in with a Deagle, but he gets 2, certainly will. And here's Dexter back. Another round with Falcons with weaker weapons, yet a stronger hold. MongolZ rattles back 1 through the wallbang. But with 30 seconds left, the bomb safely in the possession of Falcons. This is disastrous.
I'm not sure why G2 felt like they needed to really press the issue through that smoke. It felt really unnecessary with that much time still on the clock. MongolZ,
another kill.
He's got his first.
No way he can get this. Surely no way, and Tessa's Deagle ensures it, so he'll grab the AK-47.
And that's the first time at this event that G2 have failed to convert after winning the T-side pistol. 100% win rate heading into this situation, and Falcons just deal him a really painful loss, so yet again, much like the opening map of the series when it's all looking good that G2 can get the map started, Falcons shut him down emphatically.
Yeah, shut him down over in the second half of Nuke as well. It wasn't the first attempt on the low buy, it was the second low buy that they saved a few extra weapons in that proved pivotal, but this time they get it done early. Falcons tie up the scoreline. G2 continue to buy though. And they're going to commit towards A main.
Dexter's here with the Galil, but he's the only one, and there's no one even close by. And if they disrespect this smoke in just the same way, Dexter could be in trouble. A little bit of chip damage done. Nico rotating back just before that smoke fades, and he's going to be needed.
Yeah, and gets into a really strong position before G2 arrive. The boost spotted. Oh, but the headshot from Hunter. Perfect. Nico turns away. And so they overwhelm the defense, and right back into it are G2. The response is swift, and the A take is simple.
Well, there you give some credit over to Hunter, who had he's had a couple quiet maps, tough maps to start this grand final, but he provides the opening kill. Beautiful shot from Heavy God out of the stylish Deagle spin. But yeah, without him cracking things open on Degster that easily, they might not have the great chance of swinging in wide, deploying all the utility, and making Nico uncomfortable. 2-1 with this rebuttal. G2 is back in the lead.
Wrestling for control of the game. We'll see what Falcons decide to do in this next round. Well, or what kind of buy they can get out, rather.
Terrorists win.
He got Kicksan saving over that MP9. And they are going to start investing around it. So we're seeing Magis getting a Deagle out. That's the Hunter pick over the top of the boost. Dexter's not going to be too happy about that. And I think Nico is going to be even more frustrated.
Yeah, he just turns from a flashbang as well. He sees him streaming in off the wall behind Big Box, and just as he turns, he's got a P250 swinging into his face. So nice details for G2. Nice execution on the idea.
And they're not out of the woods just yet. They've still got to go up against this force from Falcons. MongolZ spots the elbow, rips apart Tesses, and the B bomb site's under wraps.
Yeah, I think Tesses is confused. He's like, there were 2 Molotovs on that ramp. How the hell did you find any space with which to stand? But MongolZ did, in fact, do it. And yeah, save. Not saving anything special, but the upgraded pistols and the MP9 can be used in the next round, which is going to be a save. So quickly, we're up to 3.
Scrappy start to Ancient. But G2 keep this one clean.
Ancient's a map in both of these teams' pools that falls in very similar positions, both around a 50-55% win rate on it, showing proficiency, but not anything super dominant. So this should be a spicy battle between these two teams. But if you're Falcons, you want to end it here, because once you move on to the last 2 maps in the series, Dust and Inferno, the win rate for G2 is a shoulder above Falcons. So perhaps their best chance to close out and lift this trophy in Bucharest. It'd be the first trophy for Kixen and Degster. Neither of them have found success at events. Kixen's career a little bit shorter. We've seen Degster at a few majors going deep, but never actually won an event.
First win for Falcons as well.
Yes, first trophy for the Falcons organization.
Well, Snack's not going to be too happy about the damage he sustained early on. It's Nico rattling shots through towards him as he climbs up onto the boxes. And in fact, they've decided to hit the pause button, leave middle, go back through elbow, and back to A. Now we know Snacks loves an A call. And he's going to start getting ready, shaping his team just behind to get some utility go in.
Good fake being thrown by Heavy Good, though, on the other side of the map. It's pulling everyone to the B bomb site with weaker weapons. They're jumping the gun without information because they need to win by numbers, but they're at the wrong site. Heavy God going to step in for a kill. And I wonder how much Kixen is gathering from that, but it doesn't matter because G2 is just now going to start moving into the A bomb site. Should be a 4th round.
Yeah, they start to realize that. Tessis is being sent back over towards CT. He's not hearing anything inside of the A site right now either. So Falcons maintaining their 3-man setup on the B bomb site. Heavy God eventually dealt with. There's another weapon available to Falcons. And now the thrust of G2 into the A site is continued.
Actually, just saving that Galil would be quite nice for Degster. It's not the craziest gun in the game, not the highest priority, but it's a free rifle nonetheless. Money you don't have to spend. And he'll have cash for an AWP in the next round as well.
Yeah, it's not like he has to play with it.
Yeah, MongolZ can drop his AK-47 and get the AWP out as well if he'd like. So we can have everyone fully kitted out in the first gun round. As this tug of war between these two things for who's going to gain control of the economy in the early stages is going to lean to G2. 4-1, 3-round deficit early. But as we saw in Nuke, once the guns come out, Falcons have been the better team throughout the day.
And they retreat into the exit players. Tesses gets 1, and the bomb will take 2.
Quite costly for G2. They got money to recover it, so not the biggest deal in the world, but that could have some implications down the road, losing some extra players to the bomb blast. Round 6. Op indeed comes out for Degster.
Yeah, straight away to that. Best start we've seen so far from G2. In terms of feeling pretty comfortable from this point onwards. If they win this gun round, you know, it's probably the best they've felt in the final so far. Going to be running out of elbow. Straight through the fire, straight through the flames, right into Magisk. Hunter gone, erased. MongolZ to move forward and take some space.
They spotted him, but they didn't want to push forward to commit to that fight. Molotov is going to take him out of Red Room, but a smoke up will delay MongolZ, MonolZ, and Snacks, whatever they want to do in here as they all join up together. Magisk rotates back around. He's leaning to support the A bomb site. Nico's going to start shifting to support the B bomb site. Keep an eye over on Red Room. But this will largely be left to Magisk and how he wants to play it.
Walker in towards his M4. It's a good pick on the first. Ooh, so close to a second. It's a dink. A dink onto Snacks, who's incredibly low, and now with the push on a heavy god finished off. The reaction from Falcons has put them up at a 4v2 with under a minute left.
Yeah, but I think Snacks is calling something crazy right now. He's actually saying, let's go through this smoke and turn towards the B-bomb site. MonolZ's throwing a fake, and look at what it's doing on the minimap. Look at the way it's pulling Falcons into middle to shift over to the A-bomb site. MonolZ and Snacks have just created the perfect avenue to get in towards B. Now look, even when this is found out, it is going to be tough to win this round. But they've given themselves every chance to do it.
MonolZ missed the gap on Nico getting towards Cave, and that's a big problem now. He has got here before the plant has even started, and he has got here before Snacks has crossed into the site, and they've waited too long. So Tesses has now arrived, and the rotation's coming back. Falcons realize what's happening at the last second. Bomb goes down, and they open up the opportunity. They just can't take it.
I mean, look, they did so what they never expected, and how necessarily could you? It's how effective that fake was towards the A-bomb site, how effective that call was. Like, there's no way you think that it's going to fool literally everyone on Falcons to shift over. So sure, there's plenty of time for them to get in and get to plant at a free bomb site, but they have no idea that that's the case.
Especially with, you know, MonolZ just about missing the vision of Nico climbing over heaven.
4-2. Deep utility at elbow, a barrage of nades and Molotov. Same with Heavy God, as he wants to get aggressive for the first time around the smoke over in Cave. MonolZ and Snacks going to come back to join up with him at B lane, while MongolZ and Hunter work middle.
Magisk smoked out. Climb towards heaven from G2's remaining forces. Sets up 5 players outside of B. Flash peek to spot Snacks.
I don't know if Kixon spotted anything. It would be nice if he did, if he had an idea that was coming, because he can't really peek again. MonolZ's now perched up with the AWP.
Oh, there's the flash. So he does peek again, and he catches Snacks on the second time of asking.
Oh, whiff smoke, though. That smoke is actually terrifying.
That's just helped out G2 big time. Tessis dropping back. Here's the utility. G2 flood in, assisted by the utility of Falcons. They're going to get the bomb down.
Yeah, look, it's not the end of the world. You feel like crap right now, but still very retakeable. 5-on-4, you've got 2 kits.
Big flank as well.
3 kits, excuse me, and yeah. But this flank's going to take some time to come to fruition. And at some point, someone from G2, looks like MonolZ, is going to be aware of the potential.
Well, he might be focused on something else, because Kixan's just cut through Heavy God, so his attention's drawn towards the site itself. Flashed into the corner. The flank is now potent. Magisk comes around the back. MonolZ's gone. Hunter's stuck in Cave. 1v5. And the only way he gets away with this is some ridiculous spams to deny the defuse, and all the pressure in the world drops on his shoulders. So Falcons secure it in the retake despite the fumbled smoke, and that's 5 players staying up.
Yeah, but you see no panic when that happens, though. Tessis just recognizes his mistake and just has everyone fall back. Like, hey, I screwed up the smoke. We can no longer play aggressive. I can no longer be in the site. We have to play retake. Pulls everyone back. Nobody falls prey to it. Nobody gets punished because of it. And you get on with the round. Once again, the guns come out, and Falcons show quite a bit of prowess.
Snacks in. Couple of steps towards the bottom of the ramp. Just gonna spot out his victim.
So much conversation around the players on G2 like MongolZ and Heavy God who've been brought into this team. The quiet performances in map 1 and 2, well, for MongolZ, he's always been great on Ancient, so if there's going to be a map that's a resurgence performance that gets him back into the series and locked in, it would be this.
Nico through the smoke. Magisk. Ooh, timing to look away. Might just allow a little bit of space now for G2. MongolZ down to 1 HP. Dexter out of the temple. Snacks to fall. Swing into the op. Dexter handles MongolZ. And we've got Heavy God alone on the other side of the map. So Defuse comes in. We're going to see Falcons tie up 4-4.
That's a hard lurk. That's a real dedicated lurk.
Guys, I'm waiting.
Yeah, you got an AK and 4
My
pistols.
chance is coming.
He's like, I'm going to lurk this real scummy. See, I just want a gun.
He's going to have enough money to get his AK out. Your utility had the Kevlar saved over. But that lead that G2 had is now gone.
Yeah, it's disappeared real quick, hasn't it? Timeout taken from G2 to talk things over. They're first of this third map in the grand finals. They're down 0-2. As you mentioned at the start of this series, obviously you want to win and lift that trophy, but you definitely want to beat the team who's going to snatch away your star player when the event's over with. MongolZ heading to Falcons any day now.
Especially because just a few months ago, they took Nico. And now they've come for MongolZ. And you feel like you've got to go through that whole rebuilding period again. But it might actually end up being one of the best things for G2 rather than being stuck in the limbo right now of realizing that MongolZ is probably going to be taken away.
All right, Dinko, I normally don't do this, but I'm going to let you cook and talk yourself into a bad situation.
No.
Explain how it's going to be better for G2.
It's better than having the limbo of MongolZ possibly going all the time, right?
Okay.
They have that in the back of their heads that Falcons are always coming for them. It's better to take your medicine now and start taking steps in the right direction.
I see where you're going with that one.
Yeah. Obviously, it would be better to have Nico and MongolZ stay in the team.
I see what you're attempting.
But in the reality we're living in, Jason.
Attempting to pull something off here. Attempting to swindle me a little bit.
Yeah, I'll sell you that snake oil. Oh, Shadow. Spotted. Magisk to react, but MongolZ to rip his head off.
It's thirsty.
Nico's up next. And this time, against Snacks, no problem. Blinded, committed to the open. Follow-up flash. Nico spends the entire round with a white screen. But MongolZ cast aside, but the Dexter AWP, as that smoke disperses, so do G2's chances of getting into the A site. Heavy God has to 1v3 this. Bomb is loose in the middle of the site itself. And Heavy God walks into the donut. Tess has gone first, but they now know where Heavy God is. They're doubled up, and they'll just peek out of the temple. Dexter will take his couple.
This defense is looking rock solid for Falcons so far. Nico maybe a little bit frustrated that swing didn't come as quick as he'd like. Good spacing, good trading for G2 on the initial contact, but they definitely weren't prepared for all the follow-up fights that were available for Falcons considering the rotation. There's the opening. But due to that extended Nico fight at the choke point, Kixon's able to come over in time, Dexter's able to be in a good position, and Falcons just keep on rolling. 3 in a row.
Here goes Nico over the top of Heaven. Not a damage, and finishes off. What? He got away with a quad kill.
Go for 5.
And you know, that makes up for all the rounds where he's just blinded on the A-bomb site when he gets into that, but manages to deny the ace. It's 4 for Nico.
Yeah, you got to give credit over to his teammates, though. Great utility over the wall. Molotovs, nades falling into those players, trying to scale quickly over towards Cave, soften up a couple players for Nico to mow him down. 4 kills. And 8-4 on the board for Nico. 8-3 for Dexter. 6 kills leads the way for G2. Heavy God in a lurk position with 6 frags.
Double op setup. Allows Magisk to just play solo A. Nico in the mid-fight. MongolZ trying to come out of elbow and catches a good timing onto Nico. So space given over to G2 in mid thanks to their Guatemalan.
Student takes down the Master.
And they'll slow down because they've got a minute 30. They've got the mid control. Not that they maintain it, instead. I'll have a lurk of Hunter over towards A main. 2 positioned at the bottom of B ramp and 2 towards Cave, but a third player now drifting over for the Falcons defense. Kixon can watch red while also helping out this B bomb site.
Well, 3 players at this B site.
Short smoke thrown in. Utility coming through. Snacks carving out a hole in Cave. Kixon's actually pushed into that smoke at short, waiting on the timing. Snacks has gone around the back. Kixon not responding to it. Can't really do much about this.
No, I think Kixon tried to like step up to get some cover, see if there was a gap in that smoke, but the positioning of Dexter essentially meant he was on his own. There was no chance he was going to get a whole lot of help for Kixon standing in the open in that fashion in front of the smoke.
Well, Snacks has a round. He gets 3 kills here. Pushing through the cave, finding the essential kill that allows them into the bomb site.
And that finally shuts down this run of 5 rounds from Falcons. Hold on to the weapon for Magis doesn't really matter. He's just got no chance of winning this. Plenty of money built up for Falcons. He will go down at the end of the day. Final round of the first half. And G2's 1 round back in a map they have to win if they want to continue this contest for the trophy at PGL Bucharest. 1 map away from crowning Falcons the champion. It could just be 7 rounds from now.
He'll out for MongolZ. Not going to be involved in the early stages of the round. Snacks is going into dangerous way with all that utility landing on his head. But look at Kixon, this is one of his favorite moves. One of his special moves going down towards the bottom of the ramp. Aggression, the name of the game, and he comes out 1 for 1.
Tessa's was trying to get a little bit frisky too, but there's activity over towards elbows, so I'm not sure he's too motivated to swing out. Magis just calls that he was smoked off. Dexter at the big box at A with an op, gonna slide back into Temple for a little bit more safety. And Nico is trying to fake out that he's the player watching Red Room while Magis glides in quiet.
Nico to step up. MongolZ's holding it. Nico wins that fight. Goes into it. Lands a dink as well. And now it's Dexter to try and shut it down, but MongolZ has had enough. Nico and Dexter both gone.
Fast flank though, you want to expect
yeah,
this.
Magic's around the back real quick. Low HP, shredded away. Magic on the double. Now they get on the defuse. And Heavy God, once again, is so far away. Defuse stuck. He can't get to it. Heavy God just nowhere near the action. Recovery is huge for Magisk, and it's an extra round to play with for the Falcons.
Magis tracked him the whole way. I mean, Heavy God is doing those hardcore lurks at the B bomb site throughout this half, so I think at this point, Falcons just read exactly what was going on. Magisk, as he backs up in towards Donut, is always watching towards the jump up for Heavy God to appear. Sticks the defuse. They knew exactly that he would not be involved in the fight, and a devastating round. MongolZ gets wrecked by Nico on the swing in towards Donut. He never expected it. A 2-round lead for Falcons, just 6 away from the championship here at PGL Bucharest.
A unique situation where we sit here in the final game of the tournament, knowing that this is the last game of these 2 squads. Very rarely happens. But that is what makes the storyline so unique. Great work from MongolZ in this round. It's just that clearance on Dexter is beautiful, but it just wasn't enough in the end.
Well, you'll never expect that Magisk flank that quickly. That's just so fast because he's positioned in Red Room the whole round. Now they could have hit tab and realized the mid player was still alive and been aware of the possibility, but obviously didn't happen. Stack up defense at the B bomb site.
Oh, MongolZ straight away in the ground. Nico to follow up here for Falcons. So it's Heavy God making sure his teammates stay in this. You could say the same for Kixen, as 2 quick kills on the Glock have thrust him into the 1v1 against Hunter, who is all the way at the bottom of the B ramp so quickly.
Kixen's ignoring the bomb for the moment.
Yeah, Hunter's going to realize that. Gets eyes on it, realizes that Kixen has to come back to him.
Okay, so his whole thing is, I'll give up. I'm not going to pick up the bomb right now. I'll have to come back for it. But if I clear this deep on the flank, I'll know there's only 2 places Hunter can be. He's either going to be B ramp, or he's going to be coming from cave. So Kixen's at least now kind of cut down on the number of ideas he's got to be concerned about and can address the flank fully.
Yeah, only has
5
bullets. Yeah, that's all he's got. Let's see if he needs more, and he won't. Kixen sees the fight and sees off Hunter. Huge recovery again from Kixen in this pistol round. He's had moments of brilliance in the individual department.
You got to be so bummed if you're Heavy God as well. You deliver 2 fantastic shots during all that chaos during the execute. This is a hard rush to stop against these Glocks, especially when MongolZ goes down first. But Heavy God just does everything he possibly can. Kixen's just a little bit better. I think one of Kixen's teammates. Look at that celebration, baby. They can
because they realize how important of a step that is towards lifting the trophy.
That trophy getting a little bit closer.
9 rounds should be won off the back of that pistol victory. And this is Kixen fighting for his first title, his first big trophy. He is going to be given the reins to a super team. And that is a huge responsibility to be on Kixen's shoulders. So if he can build confidence before MongolZ comes, then this Falcons team start to cook, because that's an underrated aspect. The fact that Kixen hasn't necessarily always had big superstar pieces, right? He's not had them ever, because he's brought into this heroic team. That's his best team he's ever had. And he was able to get some decent results with him. He had a surprise run at the Paris Major, but Kixen's resume is incredibly short.
I mean, look, he's in a situation where 2 years ago he was having the miracle run within Apex at the Paris Major, and now he's finding himself with someone who considered the greatest coach of all time, the greatest rifler of all time. They're bringing in the #1 AWPer at the moment. So yeah, if you're an IGL and you find yourself in that situation, you're like, oh baby, I'm cooking now, we're ready to go.
Well, Tess says low in HP, 3 health as he goes out towards heaven, but he still stands. Not pretty here for G2 on the utility.
So Tessus in this round is basically just for show. He's just that 10th dot on the minimap. 3 HP. Re-aggression in middle, but oh, Falcons is lined up for this. Oh, they're waiting for it. It's going to be a disaster of epic proportions. 5-on-3 in a minute on the clock.
MongolZ is going to nip in, steal away another kill. Snax has let Kixen walk right by him. That's a free kill. And you go from a 5v3 to 3v3 in the blink of an eye.
As long as you keep pace and you keep moving forward and you don't stop and wait, you have access to this A bomb site.
Yeah, Magis is actually holding for that tempo peak. Gets in the duel with MongolZ. Isn't going to win it. Molotov goes in. MongolZ moves out with the fire and drops back to safety in tempo.
It's a lot of damage taken by MongolZ to go for that peak. There's 3 flashbangs left for this T-side. Falcons can't really activate anything. You can just delay, and Dexter is stuck in the plant spot.
Here comes the flashes. Here comes the pressure. Dexter looking to hold it. AK-47 forced away. They can get onto the defuse, and look how far away Nico is on this big old flank. And you've got Magis still in donut, but they don't stick it, they don't hold it. And that has given them extra seconds here for this flank to prove pivotal. And Nico comes around the back, realizes they're not on it. And Nico stopped finally by MongolZ, but the time will end his chances. He retreats, and Nico once again proves the worst enemy of G2.
That's everything, Nico. As you're leaving G2, you're thinking of those comments. We could have kept him if we wanted to. They showed they didn't want him on the team. They didn't need him on the team, and he's come back right now and just delivered a dagger in the back of this round. Again, the post plant's in control of Falcons. And the way he's been getting this Falcons team on the right page has been so impressive.
And another step closer. 3 rounds to go. And this round doesn't have a whole lot of resistance on paper for G2. MongolZ with an AK. And it's the best they can say they have. was an aggressive A main stance. Snax and Hunter are pushed up together into this position.
Well, they can at least play the trade game on their way in. Hunter's backed off. The worst possible timing. Gonna come back through. That smoke is a ruse. It's a fake. Fight won by Snax. Dexter's aware for the second, but backs away.
Hunter looking to close the gap. Oh, Kicksam back turn. Dexter never got the angle to protect him. So that A main setup has worked out
really well.
the exact way G2 would have wanted.
And you've got close elbow as well. Oh, they're probably feeling a lot of pressure at the moment. Tessa's going to start working B. He might be the only release valve that Falcons have if they want to find a second opportunity. He's excelled in these positions. Throughout this tournament for Falcons, his B lurks have been really impactful.
Well, he's going to wait, not going forward right now. He's waiting on his teammates to come back. There's 35 seconds on the clock. Heavy God's detecting them early. MongolZ's not got the timing to watch them cross out. That bomb has made it safely to the ramp. And they get into the site. Smoke's up, keeping Heavy God pinned in behind him. There's a little corridor at the side of that smoke right in front of him, but he doesn't realize it. Wasn't close enough, but doesn't need it.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure. Now this has to be a fight won by Nico, and it won't be. Taps aren't there, so Dexter with 30 HP against 4. And this is the miracle G2 needs to get back into the map. A low buy round that they convert with some aggression in A main. A 6th round on the board, and they keep Falcons away from the trophy a little bit longer, but they have to activate off this. G2 has got to wake up. 4 rounds separate these two teams. 4 rounds and 2 maps in the favor of Falcons.
Problem is, for G2 and the CT half, they've never had really solid buys. There's always been some kind of weakness, a mixture of SMGs, and then not being able to get the AWP out from MongolZ. There's been a whole lot of problems for G2 in that department. They've also got to go up against the buy from Falcons again.
Well, look, they just recovered 3 AK-47s in that round, so now they're flush with cash on, on the G2 side of things. They've given themselves another buy after this one, potentially even 2 buys. That round is huge.
Heavy God's D killed through the smoke is the little bit of luck that they need, and they've got to run with it. Timeout taken, the first here of Ancient for Falcons.
Heavy God just continues to be so impressive in what he's provided for G2 at this event. I think he's shifting up everyone's radar with the way that he's been playing. Obviously had a weird start to the career, joining OG, then brought into Cloud9 later on that year, which imploded with the chaos of that Cloud9 roster, and just 2 months after that, stepped into G2. He's played tons of different roles throughout his career, so he's got a lot of perspectives. And he's got the aim to back it all up.
MongolZ is on the climb, Snax on the push down ramp. Spotted by Dexter and Heavy God, the player that was just on your lips. He's got himself that trade kill back.
Look how much damage is done. Dexter at 33, kicks in at 1 HP. So put the pressure on Nico and Magis to make the play.
Can Nico make use of this gap? Getting in towards Donut.
And a map that could mean the trophy for Falcons, Nico is 16-9. He has ascended.
Hunter's waiting for him. But Nico has bested him in every single challenge, it feels like. Another one added to Nico's collection, and he'll call the rest of his forces over towards A. Nico, once again, the nightmare of G2.
He's not afraid of anything. I love the way he's unafraid to take risks.
And this is exactly what he's doing into the temple. MongolZ's up. He will clear Nico out. MongolZ wants another, dragging his team forward, but Magisk still in the fight. Still in the fray, and Heavy God in a 1v2 from Temple. He better pray. He goes into the peak. Magisk is down in low HP on Kicksand. 1 single point of health. Heavy God was the impact player in their previous round victory. Needs to be that again. Otherwise, 11 for Falcons. Onto the defuse. Flash up, but Kicksand will deny it. 11 rounds for Falcons as they see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's another great round, but everything opened up by Nico. His play through middle into Donut when he knows he's got two teammates bruised and busted from the B bomb site. He's the one who takes on the responsibility to provide everything. And getting Hunter with the late rotate into the bomb site is exactly what they needed. Falcons have such a strong grip on this series, 11-6.
Falcons have shown conviction to conquering the Counter-Strike world. They've spent so much trying to build roster after roster. They finally get Nico.
No way.
And it is going to be enough. Yet to see a trophy, but Nico comes into the squad. They have a grand final placing earlier in the year. They find themselves here just a couple of rounds away. A couple kills back though from G2. And 3 players for Falcons run up the B ramp. Heavy God trying to make the difference. He'll be over towards Cave. And he has a little bit of a gap, but Testis is watching it. And the dink is landed, the kill's locked in. MongolZ 1v3. A future Falcon to win this 1v clutch.
He's got to be thinking, man, these guys are sharp. I'm excited to join this team. Spotted one over at B ramp. There's no chance of this retake. MongolZ just wants the weapon because all that money that G2 won themselves on a low buy a couple rounds back, it's gone. It's depleted. This AK will once again be the most powerful weapon they have in the round.
Tournament point for Falcons. And to do it in a 3-0 fashion, every map being one-sided, preventing G2 from getting the double figures on any of the maps played. And this is a squad that's making changes.
Well, this Falcons team, you touched on it, struggled to find success from entering in. They had that full French lineup a while back. They had that crazy international lineup with Boros and NBK.
Yeah, crazy.
And then obviously brought in the Duprees, the Magisk, the Sunpius, the Madden, the Ents roster when they picked up that core after bringing Zonic over.
MongolZ defends mid, but he loses a lot of his health.
There's been great expectations around this Falcons team considering the wallet, the purse they're playing with, and the lineups and the cores they've picked up.
And all of the disappointment, but Heavy God off the top. Some life in G2 yet, thanks to that play from Heavy God. Tames the beast of the M4, and he'll not stop. 4th kill sent through the smoke.
All right, little bit of life there. Heavy God, 19 kills now. Just 1 frag behind Nico, topping the server. But once again, we have to say, I mean, that just has to be the moment. And it really is, because it's the last chance you'll get.
And it's Heavy God both times.
Throughout the day, it feels like he's been the name called upon the most when G2 need a round.
I mean, you're looking at the future of G2 now. That he is one of the pivotal players for G2's future. Putting in a shift despite the losing effort at the moment. Tess is Deagle running up towards the top of the ramp. So Falcons take a moment to breathe. Surely there's no way they would have a tournament like this. So MongolZ will grab the first. Heavy God to follow up, and they'll keep it relatively clean. Very clean, in fact. As Hunter holds on, the Magic's push, no one goes down, and we're looking at a 12-8 scoreline. But the buy returns for Falcons. And it just feels like a matter of time before this one is closed out. Think about the start in the tournament from Falcons.
Yeah, the way this has progressed, but we thought they'd be knocked out potentially 0-3.
It felt like they were coming to this tournament with all the news surrounding them that they were just going to phone it in. Get job done.
Even Nico came in with an interview that was like, yeah, this event's actually really important to us. We had a talk and we want to go deep. We want to have good results, and we're sitting at 0-2, and I don't really know why. But boy, did it turn around from there.
Able to grow, find the energy required to get into the final. And now 1 round away from securing the title. Nico flashback. Held at bay at elbow.
As good as Heavy God's played, he cannot carry you into overtime. You need someone else to step up for these last 4 rounds of play. And Snax doesn't want the round dictated in that fight, so he backs off. Gives the space over to Falcons. 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. MongolZ and Red Room, Hunter at A, Mobs and Donuts, Snax and Heavy God at the B bomb site. For Falcons, Nico lurking elbow, and the other 4 over towards the B site and B lane. Falcons might just just be attacking into the hot hand for this all-important round 21.
"30 seconds. All that's left. Snacks playing on the fade of the smoke. Here comes Kicksan right in towards him. Touching in the smoke. Snacks has got the kill. And the bomb's going elsewhere. It's going back to the donuts. It was Mobs to try and hold on.
Gotta come through.
Hunter's rotating over. Test says, what? How has he done that in this crucial round? Opens up with a brilliant headshot. Hunter up next. Magic's got the kill. And surely now this is it. G2 sent bodies through, but it won't be enough. Surely not enough. And it's MongolZ, their future teammate, to prolong play in his final map as a G2 player. Perhaps his final round. Hunts down Nico. He's collected him. And it's up against the man who MongolZ is taking the spot away from. The AWPer that Falcons do not want. And he stays alive to grab it, but MongolZ to the headshot. There is no time, and Falcons have taken it. They have come out on top.
Look at Dexter as well. The jumps, the little leaps of joy. It's got to be a bittersweet moment, but Nico telling him, you've done it. You've got your first trophy, and we can tell by the way he reacts how much it means to him. A guy who's poured so much emotion and energy into Counter-Strike, and Dexter